Ouais, belote. Tranquille ou quoi, frérot? J'ai lancé Fortnite, j'ai gagné 4000 euros. C'est normal. Si t'en as acheté pour 50 balles, c'est un peu normal. Si dans le dernier mois d'avant, là, t'as acheté genre pour 50 balles des VDOC, c'est normal qu'ils t'en donnent 4000. Si t'as acheté le pack à 100 balles, ils te remboursent la différence. Il est débanni ton compte. T'es enfin plus ban. Ah, ok. Ton compte est plus banni. Tu peux rejouer enfin. Ok. Skin de l'année. Je pense qu'il est jeune. Ouais, enfin. Tu m'étonnes. 3 jours, c'est chaud. Et si tu recommences, tu vas prendre une semaine. Et si tu recommences, un mois. Et si tu recommences, un an. Et si tu recommences, t'as plus de compte. C'est la reste. J'ai un pote à moi, il a été ban pendant un mois déjà. Laisse tomber. Il s'est fait ban un mois déjà. S'il recommence, il se fait ban un an. Donc fais pas le con, frérot. Sinon t'es obligé de recréer un compte après, c'est un bordel. C'est un bordel. Un mois, je tiendrai pas. Ouais, t'es obligé de recréer un compte après. Si tu te fais ban, tu vas pas te faire ban un mois. Si tu te fais ban 3 jours, tu te fais ban une semaine. Après une semaine, tu te fais ban un mois. Après un mois, un an. Après un an, à vie. Quand tu te fais ban ton compte une semaine ou un mois, je te conseille de recréer un compte parce que tu vas trouver le temps long sinon. Un mois sans jouer, t'as rendu. Mon pote il va être obligé de recréer un compte. si on n'est pas... Bah, moi, c'est long. Très long. Alors, si le mec il se recrée pas un compte, un mois sans jouer, tant... Ça fait quand même... Peut-être lancer un peu tout aussi. On a peut-être dû lancer le live un peu plus tard, il était là. Il était 19h30. On a peut-être dû lancer un peu plus tard. Les gens ont gagné avant 20h. Donc le match était lancé à 21h. On a peut-être dû lancer un peu plus tard. Petit truc à graille là, c'est le câble. Salut les grands, ça va. Tranquille et toi, Julien. Et toi, la grande, ça va? Et toi, la plus grande. Je reste pas longtemps. Je vais devoir aller manger. Oui, je vais bien. Ah ok, pas de soucis, je vais. Fais comme tu peux. C'est déjà cool d'être passé. Non, t'as 20 ans de plus. Ah, merci de me rappeler que je suis vieux, quoi, putain. On me rappelle que je suis un vieux, quoi. Putain, qu'est-ce qu'elle est sympa. T'as 20 ans de plus, vieux con. Oh, elle a effacé le message. T'as 20 ans de plus, vieux con. Oh my god. Ah ouais. T'as retiré ton message. T'as 20 ans de plus, vieux con. Oh putain. C'est quoi le lien? Je vais te l'envoyer dans le chat. Pardon, papa. Attends, je vais aller chercher le lien. Là. C'est quel celui-là? Non, c'est pas celui-là. C'est celui-là. Celui-là de bac. J'aime le studio. Programme. C'est le match. Il faut pas trouver. C'est Séville, Manchester. lien de... Merde, putain. C'est commencé le bordel, quelle heure? 19h12. Ah si, c'est bon. Hop. Copier. Coller. Voilà pour toi, frérot. Hop. C'est quoi le lien? Le live d'hier a fait 6K vues. Bravo. Ouais, j'ai vu ça, ouais. Merci à toi, Julia. Ouais, j'avoue, 6K, c'est énorme. J'aime pas insulter. Et surtout que tu es sympa. T'inquiète. Je rigolais. Sinon, vous faites quoi de beau, les gens? Si merde, de rien. Comment il s'appelle? Adjimal. C'est fait pour, frérot. J'insulte que ceux qui me manquent vraiment de respect. Tu me respectes, je te respecte et pas d'insulte. C'est ça. C'est merde. Rien, il pleut. Non, sérieux, il pleut. Non, moi, il pleut pas. Il y a... Dans la nuit, ça a plu, par contre. Dans la nuit, ça pue, mais là, ça peut aller. Il fait un peu gris, mais ça a pas plu encore. Chat. Chat. J'ai pas resté enfermé. Bah sors. Va prendre ta douche. Va prendre ta douche gratuite. Mais gérant, tranquille quoi. J'aime pas. C'est gratuit pourtant. Et Adjmal, t'as réussi à te connecter, enfin t'as réussi comment dire? T'as réussi à regarder le match, c'est bon? C'est chiant, le correcteur. Tu m'étonnes. Trop bien. C'est ce qu'il faut. C'est ce qu'il faut, Jairan. Adjmal. Hier, oui. Et là, t'as pas testé, frérot. T'as pas retesté. Enfin, t'as pas... Je regarde pas Manchester, alors. Moi, le lien fonctionne et aucune pub. Impec, Julia. Nickel, frère. Nickel, serette. Mais là, si je lance, je vais devoir quitter YouTube. Ah, ok, pas de souci. Ah, du mal là. Fais comme tu peux, frérot. Tu quittes 30 secondes. fait ce que je viens de faire, après je suis remis. C'est ça qu'elle dit. Je regarde un truc. 18 lectures. Il y a déjà 18 personnes qui sont passées sur le live. Putain, en combien de temps? 3 minutes. Je sais combien de temps que j'ai lancé le live. Ah, 21 minutes. Je vois, il y a déjà 18 personnes qui sont passées. On va battre les 6K. On va battre les 6K d'hier avec un match Manchester-Séville. Ça serait étonnant. C'est la demi-finale après même. C'est demi-finale Europa League même. Je pense pas qu'il y ait autant d'engouement que la Ligue des Champions. Mais comme j'aime pas trop le foot, je reste sur ton live. Merci à toi Julia, c'est cool. Pas con. Il y a combien de matchs encore? Mardi, demain il y a une demi-finale aussi. Demain il y a une demi-finale, je sais même plus qui c'est qui joue. Demi-finale Europa League demain. Mardi à Paris. Et mercredi, je pense qu'il y a Lyon. C'est mercredi, je sais pas quand c'est Lyon. Et après la finale, je sais plus quand c'est. Dimanche. Ouais, ou non. Tranquille ou quoi. Elle préfère te pécho. Ah non, elle a 12 ans frérot. Elle a 12 ans, elle avait rien pécho du tout frère. C'est pas de son âge encore tout ça. Mais elle a 12 ans Julia, au cas où. Elle pense pas aux hommes encore. Elle a autre chose à penser. Mais MDR, arrête, tu m'étonnes. Va passer ton brevet. Bien sûr. Laissez-la tranquille, la petite Julia. Ça pourrait être ma fille. Ça pourrait presque être ma fille. Même ça pourrait être ma fille. On va passer pour Julia, ta snap. Non, elle a pas snap. Il pourrait être mon papa. Et voilà, tout à fait. Mais j'en peux plus. Ah, voilà. Ferme les yeux. Ferme les yeux, Julien, ferme les yeux. Je sais même pas si je vais regarder. faut qu'on fasse des films. Non. 3 défis. Je croyais qu'elle était déjà tout en or, là, madame. Non. J'avais... Mais... c'est que pour communiquer avec ma famille. Pour quand le tuto fermer des pubs. J'en ai besoin. Voilà, je pense que ce sera pour quand il y aura un match de Lyon, je crois. Quand il y aura un match de Lyon, il faudra faire un tuto, je pense. Comment fermer les pubs. Et je crois que pour eux, c'est plus facile d'acheter RMC Sport que fermer des pubs. Tu vas faire top tendance. Ah, t'étais d'ailleurs. Pas sur un match comme ça, jamais fait de tendance. Jamais été en tendance. Je serai jamais en tendance, les mecs ils ont des je sais pas combien de viewers. Ceux qui sont en tendance, ils ont souvent le million d'abonnés, tu. Je suis pas Michou, frérot. Lundi soir, tu vas avoir beaucoup de gens sur ton live. Ouais, grave. Donc voilà, ça va être blindé. Hein. Le jour c'était blindé déjà. Et en fait, même hier pour le match de Lyon, il y avait quand même du monde. Hein. C'est 6000 vues. C'est quand même pas mal 6000 vues. 6K vues. Pour le match de Lyon, c'est quand même beaucoup. Est-ce que mardi on va battre le record? Là est la question. 6000 vues à battre, mardi peut-être. Aujourd'hui, je sais pas. Europa League, les gens s'intéressent pas trop à l'Europa League. Ça sera un club français encore, il y aurait plus de monde, vu qu'il n'y a pas de club français. J'ai été sur le compte à mon frère et j'ai acheté le skin fléchette comme je l'aimais bien. Mais je crois qu'il a beaucoup de V-Bucks, il en a 12 000, c'est beaucoup. Ouais, quand même. 12 000, ça fait au moins, je sais pas combien. Ah, regarde. Ça fait presque 80 €. 75 €, on va dire. €100. Ah, ça a baissé. Ouais, ça a baissé. Ils ont eu peur de la concurrence Fall Guy. Ils ont été obligés de baisser les prix. Fall Guy leur a fait un peu peur. Parce que Fall Guy, ils ont récupéré 2 millions de personnes, mine de rien. Du coup, Epic Games, ils ont dit faut qu'on réagisse, on baisse les prix, on offre une pioche, on offre des V-Bucks, ceux qu'on a acheté. 80 €, il est fou dans le jeu, tu m'étonnes. Tu es une fille, tu peux pas comprendre. Là quand même, 80 €, c'est beaucoup quand même. C'est un gamin en plus. Sur le compte à ton petit frère ou à ton grand frère. Son petit frère il a 9 ans, s'il achète 80 € de V-Bucks, il les achète comment, Julien? avec la carte de tes parents. Ils payent avec la carte de tes parents, ils doivent crier au secours. Bah 80 € c'est beaucoup. Ah, ton petit frère de 9 ans en plus. Ça veut dire il a volé la carte à tes parents pour mettre 80 €, c'est ça? Papa qui dit souvent oui. Putain. Il est gentil ton père. Il lui met 80 € de VBEC. Il a quel âge? 9 ans? Il a 9 ans je crois, un truc comme ça. Pareil, je connais un pote à moi. C'est un gamin, le petit, je sais pas, tu vois. C'est un pote à moi, son frère, il a, je sais pas, il doit avoir 6 ans, 7 ans, tu vois. Il a carotte la carte à ses parents. Il a payé 900 € de V-Bucks sur le jeu. Je sais pas si t'imagines, il a carotte la carte à ses parents, il a mis 900 € de V-Bucks, le gamin s'est fait défoncer. Ses parents, ils ont essayé de faire réclamation, et ils ont pas pu se faire rembourser, tu vois. Ah, laisse tomber, le gamin, c'est un ouf. Il doit avoir 6 ans, le gamin, je crois. Il a carotte la carte, il a mis 900 € avec la carte à ses parents, quoi. Laisse tomber. Non. Sinon, papa verrait sur le relevé bancaire 9 ans. Carotte. Volé. C'est ça. Ouais, il a volé la carte à ses parents. Il a mis 900 € de V-Bucks, le gamin. Ses parents, ils ont pété un câble. Ils ont essayé de faire réclamation pour se faire rembourser. Ils ont pas voulu les rembourser. Une fois que c'est acheté, une fois que c'est payé, tu peux plus rien faire. T'as beau faire des réclamations, ils s'en foutent. Ils préfèrent prendre un avocat que te rembourser. Il a mangé la carte bancaire. Ah, ok. Non, il a dépensé 900 € dans les V-Bucks. Et c'est un gamin, je sais même pas, il doit avoir 6-7 ans. Tu vois son casier, tu tripes. Il a acheté tous les skins, il a tout acheté, tout ce qui sortait, il a acheté. Ouais, ah bah maintenant il a un casier de fou. Mais bon, il s'est quand même fait bien démonter, je crois. Je sais pas s'ils l'ont frappé ses parents. Il a pris le tarif. « 900 € tous les vêtements qu'il aurait pu acheter. » Ah bah il les a achetés, hein. Il les a achetés et tout. Ses parents, ils ont essayé de faire réclamation, sauf que ils se sont pas fait rembourser, tu vois. Une fois que t'as acheté les V-Bucks, tu peux plus te faire rembourser, tu vois. Même si tu fais des réclamations ou quoi, tu peux pas, tu vois. Il y a marqué êtes-vous sûr de les acheter parce que tu veux pas te faire rembourser, tu vois. Il y a eu trop de vols avec ça. Du coup, une fois que c'est acheté, tu peux pas te faire rembourser, c'est fini, c'est mort. On peut jouer ensemble. Enfin, je suis en tournoi. Ouais, c'est chaud. Quand je finis, j'arrive si tu veux. Ouais, tranquille, animal. Tranquille, frérot. Je sais même pas si je vais jouer avec une game ou deux vite fait, peut-être. Je vais manger à tout à l'heure. Ouais, bonne app, Julia. Merci d'être passé. Il montre une rediffusion du match. C'est quoi ce match? Manchester City Lyon. Ah ouais, il remonte la rediffusion. Manchester City Lyon. C'est marrant. Merci. Ouais, de rien. Normal. Bon, on va faire une game au pire là-dessus. C'est trop bon. Je vais pas demander, ça va couper. Essayer de regarder ce que c'est. Ça va sûrement couper sur le live à tous les coups. Il y a des droits d'auteur là-dessus, je pense. Il doit y avoir des droits d'auteur, du coup tu peux pas diffuser, je pense. Ça va sûrement couper. Bon, ça bug ou quoi? Ouais, j'ai bugué ou quoi? Mais non. Oh non. Les machins, ils sont tous là-bas, ça doit être là-bas. Je sais pas, ça a coupé le live, non? Ça peut couper. Il n'y a peut-être pas de droit d'auteur, du coup. C'est bon.
A little bit central, we're just
Tournoi,
south of the authority, or just over the authority, with a little bit of a southwestern side there. So most of the players will have time. The Swamp players will have tons of priority, and Storm Surge has just turned on, which is something you might not be familiar with if you're watching there. So Storm Surge is actually on in every game.
Tournoi, c'est quoi
It's
ça?
only activated when you're above a certain number of players left. That number of players for the third zone is 70. So with 83 players currently left, 13 will be impacted. What it does is those who haven't done enough damage to the opposing players will then take 25 damage every 10 seconds. This is to try and encourage a little bit of active play, which we see here from Orion taking out Queasy, who's going to be queasy about that, just being game ended right there before the rotation occurs, not picking up any points in that match.
And what a smart play. He went in different angles and didn't just crash pad off the top, because he knew Queasy would have been expecting that, and found an angle, got in the box, got the elimination. That also, with Storm Surge, it causes people to make plays like that. Arion may have decided that, you know what, a couple tags were good, I'm good to go, move on. He's put him pretty high up in the Storm Surge, but he didn't want to take the chance. He wanted to make sure he was above at least 100 damage on the threshold. So he decided, I got to go in, I got to get in the box, because when Storm Surge starts hitting you, nobody's going to let you shoot them. No one's going to let you even look at them. They're going to be sitting in their boxes, they're going to sit there and wait. And not even open windows, not even make any movement, because they know, hey, that guy's getting hit by a big purple lightning bolt. We can't attack him. Well, all of a sudden, Phoenix is actually going in, but maybe a little bit of a misplace, he gets eliminated.
Gets punished right away, and Tigwe has everything you could possibly want for a box fight there. I mean, just look at the loadout, having the epic tactical shotgun, the epic burst AR, crash pads, plenty of shields. So Phoenix might have felt a little pressure to go in and create some space, but Tigwe punishing very succinctly there. Now we swing on board. Milan, Seventor, Kiko, and Anas all directly on top of each other. Anas has played incredibly well. Clement also joining in on the party, and this is what we talk about, that storm surge. All the players who below, Anas being one of them, are going to be forced to find tags. That damage is going to start coming through. He's going to need to convert on it, and he converts brilliantly there, picking up Supremacy's Clement in #1 elimination, and also closing in on that first placement threshold play.
It was such a beautiful play by Anas because he knew Clement had that bush. He said, you know what, he's going to go for the pickaxe. I'm just going to go ahead and edit that wall out so he can get the initial shot. And that got him the elimination. That initial shot there gave him the damage just to follow up with another tag shot. And with that rare tactical shotgun, it does a lot of damage. That's exactly what he did. Now on his way, he got the pepper placement threshold, just came through as well. And now he's moving in. He's got a very great loadout to secure himself a very good placement here. And we know Anas is very, very capable, like we talked about. And he's already stalking another player. He's looking to take down AX Controller.
Yeah, and that's Controller 007 from the FNCS Invitational. We saw him have a number of really solid performances. Still need 3 players to go down from that Storm Surge special, but Anas just trying to kind of follow in this rotation path, get as close to center of zone. So if you're kind of new to watching competitive Fortnite, joining for the first time in Party Royale or Twitch or YouTube or Twitter or watchfortnite.com, what do you care about as you're watching this game as Anas will take it down, or what are you looking for? Mongrel and Thomas HD also picking up eliminations to put us below the Storm Surge threshold. The first thing is whether or not opponents are picking up eliminations. You can see that to the right of the player's name that's right next to kind of the little mark there. And that will represent 1 point every single time as they go through. Additionally, you're worried about them picking up placement points. In this format, the first one occurs after 25 players have gone down, then the next one occurs after 50 players have gone down, then it's every 10 and 5 players. So when somebody ends up falling in 41st or 31st or 26th, that's a huge changeover. But now, during the middle part of the game, as everyone's rotating through, what they're looking to do is establish space for themselves, make sure they're safe, and then find tags so they're not threatened by that storm surge that we were talking about ahead of time. Because now we hop on board here with MCSX Squeezy, who has placed top 25 in 78% of his games this FNCS, best in the EU. And that's something to contrast with the fact that he also plays really aggressive in the early and the mid game. If he gets caught out and he's able to convert, he's had some of the highest elimination totals throughout the entirety of the FNCS play.
And I was going to say, I'm surprised he's not going into this player's box that's literally just fishing in front of him. Someone else tried it and he's waiting. You can tell he wants to get into this box. As soon as he sees that player to make moves into the other box, and maybe finds out where they are, he wants to go in, but he's got Letwick right above him, so you can tell he's being a little bit more cautious this time around. In the heat and the qualifiers, he knew he had a little bit of leeway after that great performance that he had. He was able to play a little bit more aggressive and still get top 25, which is insanely impressive. Now, the biggest impact of the game right now is going to be this hit shockwave launcher in Thomas HD's inventory. He's already got the elimination because of it. He's also already near the next zone. He doesn't have to rotate very far, which is really good for him because he only has 94 materials.
He only has 94 materials, and he's right by the priority on high zone. This is the 4th zone, which means it's the last safe zone that's completely inside the current safe zone. After that, the half out, which kind of signals the transition into the end game as Thomas helps end Semi's game there. He's going to be sent back and have to queue up after that. And Thomas hits him with a favorite emote. Hey, if you got that emote and you're in Party Royale, mimic it right now. Let Thomas know you're with him and sending him the aid, because he has a really good shot to ride this game out with where he's positioned, because after the 4th zone, you don't want to head super central. So all of a sudden, if that half in, half out zone pulls to the south and is on this high ground, and he has all the shockwave launcher plus a launch pad plus the mythic charge shotgun, it's going to be really difficult to force him out of a priority position. He's going to be somebody to watch over the course of this game who's going to impact the other players around him.
And he's already doing that just with his AR. He impacted Sevi. He's going to take down passive. And this is very, very good for him because he doesn't have to go too aggressive to get these eliminations. They're kind of being handed to him here as he's just taking a grasp of his surroundings, looking at every possible angle and getting eliminations. And speaking of that, Mr. Savage going to pick up an elimination there onto Frostroki.
Yeah, and you can see that action kind of being driven as players are forced to rotate in and start to get priority positions. It's not only just about being safe here. It's about establishing yourself for the next rotation because that half in, half out is so important in terms of priority. But right now, Reason is 5 below the damage threshold. So once this zone clears, he'll start ticking. You want to keep an eye on the top left, bottom right corner. That number will need to drop down to 50 players before Storm Surge turns off. And if anybody we're watching is below the threshold, they'll start taking that 25 damage every 10 seconds. And Reason just able to get himself above it with a nice tag there, and he's starting to get aggressive. We talked about the
vraiment cool.
We saw it in the package beforehand in Ball and Child. How good he can be aggressive on the low ground. And he gets Heatsy there, which is a huge elimination as well because he pulled that half in, half out zone we talked about. Everyone who banked on it being up on the high ground saying, hey, if it pulls up here, I can win the game. Well, they were wrong. It pulled away from them, and they'll be the ones who have to rotate as we hit top 50. Storm Surge turns off. Second round of placement points goes through, and everyone is going to be rotating.
You saw Savage just waiting with that edit open. He was looking for any possible.
C'est la dernière zone, il y a je sais pas combien de personnes. 50 personnes dans la zone. 50 personnes dans la zone. Oh my god. Ça joue leur vie, frère.
And this is where you want to be. If you do pull half out, you want to be looking for players. You don't want to be exposed because obviously then you could get sniped like Flois might do here. Some people, Mongrel picks up an elimination as well, so he's still here in this game and still fighting as well as Flois is trying to snipe somebody out of the sky and was not able to hit it, but
47 dans la zone. Oh my god.
Valiant effort, but just a little wide. Might have given him a haircut, but not going to connect.
No skirmish au bordel.
As we see Kami pick up a huge elim. Flois trying to get involved here. Finds the first tack shot. Gets the second onto Vadil, who had picked up Savage. So Savage, again, going down early. Only picking up an elim and the 2 placement thresholds. 3 points for him there. As we continue through, you can see Flois and Scribs Felix as well. Skype, one of the now veterans, and we call them boomers in the lobby. 3 players in EU are 20 years old, and that is the oldest players who are in the match. But Skype has been around and qualified for nearly every one of these finals. But we're hopping on board here with Quartz Froggy, who had an absurd, just absolutely gross run in heat number 2 to qualify himself, pushed himself, I believe it was I think it was like 19 or 20 points in the final game to get here, but so far quiet on the day. No eliminations, but a decent loadout as we now transition into those fully moving zones, which means all the safe zones are outside, completely away from the current one, and everyone is going to have to move if they want to avoid that storm damage.
And luckily for him, it seems like it's pulling towards him, so he doesn't have to invest those crash pads right away. Look for eliminations. You see thinking the code allows him that opportunity to find these rotations as well. You see just bouncing away through the crash pads. Doesn't have to worry about it. SUIS is going to fall there in the feed. That's an important one to note there because we talked about it. We hyped him up, falling down before that 40th placement threshold as well. He's not going to end on a lot of points. Question is, how many points can Froggy end up on? How many points can the rest of the lobby end up on as this game continues to go on? We see Kiriachi, we see Mongrel, we see Letwick there in your screen as well. And Froggy looks to have taken high ground with that. The shots go through. He's going to get that player down to low HP. It's Cammy going down. What a huge pickup there by Froggy, but he's not done yet. There's another player on the other side. So he does disengage, so he does have mats
36 personnes. 36 personnes dans la zone. Dans la mini-zone. Oh my god.
Yeah, and Benji and Hen also picking up a pair of elims there in the feed as we close in on the next placement threshold. It'll be top 30, and then every 5 players going down. Storm Surge will also turn off his top 30, and we're closing in on it. There it is. Scouts picking up a pair to make sure he gets there. That's ADN and Diablo, who we saw yesterday going down. Thomas also goes down, and then Become Legends Rifle picks up Benji Fishy. Deceptos ends up getting Skite as well going down there. Lecce picking up Styler, but we're still on board here with Quartz Froggy, and we saw how much work he can do on the mid-ground tarp here, and he's continuing to run through with that charged shotgun, picks up Scouts as well, and we're in through another placement threshold. So this is what happens as we start getting into moving circles. All the action for, so keep an eye. Flois all the way up on the high ground. Kiko has priority on the low ground, and then everyone else is the tarp in between. But Hen and Reason are still up on the mid tarp.
I think Flois was able to
Qui va faire top 1? C'est Boga. Boga, il va faire top 1.
He's going to fall there on the backside. Reason still in this game, getting eliminations.
Même pas qui y a là-dedans.
On 4. Crash Pad will come out here for him. He does have a lot of materials left. Carrot picking up 3 eliminations there on the backside. As shots come through on the hit, he is going to be able to block it off. And the capitalization there on the Stacey will be good as he realized already losing HP. Kenzel going to take down the player there as well. And not going to fall. Lois does have what it seems like a crash pad to maintain high ground, but Bad Sniper coming up. Decepno's coming up as well. Everybody is coming up for high ground. Reason just trying to make it through.
Everyone's pushing to the high ground right now, but not necessarily paying attention to what's going down the low ground where people are cleaning up on eliminations. You have Flois in your top right, Froggy in your bottom right, everyone else on the wide. You can see Flois is up on that ultimate high ground. Deceptos in hand down on that low ground with Reason just above them. Froggy waiting for his opportunity, but keep an eye on the number of builds because we're getting down to the final one. Flois going to pick up an elimination there. We're doing a really good job at just maintaining that high ground control as we're closing in on our top 5. One more player will go down, and then it's all about getting to the top 3. Boom, we have it. Letwick, Bad Sniper, Froggy, Hen, and Flois. Top 5 in game number 1.
And Flois looking to close it out 4 eliminations, but Froggy down below, you cannot count him out yet. He is right there. If he takes down Flois from below, that'll be so huge for him because he will get that shockwave launcher and get that battery. Letwick very, very low. Likely going to be edited down. The shots come through, but no, Flois going to be one to take him down. Froggy gets down hid. In the meantime, 1v1. Froggy versus Flois. The shockwave launcher up above. Froggy trying to dodge him. Flois sending him down. He's trying to, but he's running out of match. 15 mils remaining, and Froggy does not look like he's stopping anytime soon. Going out in the zone, taking some damage. Going to shockwave himself down. Little Metro classic. Shotgun does come through. The shockwave is going to send him flying. Shots come through. Flois is going to get the beam, and he takes down Froggy for the victory royale.
Really, really good job for
Je ne connais pas, je sais pas si vous le connaissez.
Push with the mythic weaponry, but more importantly, showing the versatility of that shockwave launcher, launching himself down and then finding a gap to launch the opponent out, tracking him, picking it up with the AR. Match number 1 is done. Fury Flois taking home the victory royale, but we'll see where the leaderboard shakes out. We're going to toss it back on over to Zeke, Shael, and Bala.
Man, a strong start here in EU, really coming out with a nice flow. Flois finding himself the victory royale. Guys, this final fight between Froggy and Flois, both players walk into that 1v1, 5 eliminations. The Elam and the victory royale is going to be that 4-point swing.
Ouais, dans 10 minutes, il y a l'avant-match.
This is going to be a good tone setting for the rest of the competition.
We saw it in every region, right? 1 point matters, and that's a 4-point difference for that win and the Elam. The coolest thing, though, to me, was the versatility for Flois and how he was playing every single engagement differently and using his entire kit to be able to hold first overall in Europe right now. 6 eliminations, 20 points, and that victory royale.
Il y a pas un qu'on connaît là-dedans.
There's also other people lurking near, too. And with only the first game, don't forget there's 6. People are starting to establish themselves. I see Hen in 3rd place right now with 15 points, a sign that he could actually be on that hot streak. Hen, a very hot and cold player. Letwick, though, played significantly well yesterday, and he's there again, in towards the top placements, and also with a couple elims to put himself in 4th place, but Kinzel too. And then the rest of this, I think, is kind of maybe a little different than what we might expect in towards the end of the day. You have Carrot, you had Deceptos, you had a Nas. I mean, there are some of these guys who have the potential to win for sure, but I don't know if that's quite it yet.
Yeah, I think at the top, I mean, obviously this is such a strong start. 20 points for Flois. Now he's off the line, but he needs to take that next step and turn this into a full-on sprint toward the end. Is this the momentum he needs to do this, though?
Yeah, I mean, for all the people over here, that's the same kind of question, right? If you haven't seen the standings leaderboard before, the eliminations are the total overall over the 6 games we're playing, as well as the points, and that's a combination of the placement and elims these guys have. So Lecce got 5 points of placement that game in 22nd place, and 2 eliminations, that's 1 point each. But for these guys, they're kind of sitting at 30th place. They don't have to go for a top 25 anymore. No one has to go for top 50. Everyone here is focused on that win, and they're just slightly behind. Still, though, really hot off the gate.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that people have to figure out on this first game. There are a lot of things and changes to what people might have been expecting. The plan, Zeke, you talked earlier about how these guys are all starting to do their research and whatnot. It shifts a little bit in grand finals. People start to make decisions and play with the mind a little bit of each other to, you know, force things that you might not be comfortable with.
A lot of that is going to dictate that drop spot, right? And how that could, I mean, we're talking about 100 of the very best in the world. If I'm going somewhere and my peer is going somewhere that I'm used to playing with and against, that is going to dictate my play and theirs.
I mean, it always starts from the early game, right? Just in general, the entire tournament, from game number 1, your mentality is set in if you do well, if you do bad, and now everyone has different expectations. If you're like Flowis, you're at the top spot. You guys mentioned it. Now it's a game of endurance, holding it and not faltering when things go bad.
And in the grand finals, we have seen tournament after tournament. Being uncontested increases your chances of winning tournaments by tenfold, if not more than that. So being uncontested means you have nobody landing with you. You might be familiar with landing in a hot spot. You don't want to be doing that in grand finals or in set lobbies at all.
Yeah, the opposite of that is contested when someone is there. And Mr. Savage and Noah Riley are side by side at the yacht on the northern side of the map. 2 other big names all the way at Slippery Swamp, Kiriachi and then Benji Fishy.
Noah Riley was not supposed to go to the yacht with Mr. Savage. Mr. Savage had thought that he had done enough to force nobody to land with him throughout the heat. But you know what changes now for Benji is that Noah was going to be landing in the same main building. And of course, Noah did not want to do that challenge. One of the best players in the world at off-spawn fighting did not want to challenge Benji whatsoever. He'll leave what success he had throughout the qualifiers to end up going against Mr. Savage?
I mean, now it's going to be even harder, I think, for Noah Riley all the way up at the yacht. For Benji, even freer. But how did that look in game number 1, right? We're talking about these names, and we missed one of the biggest ones from the first game, Flowis, who ended up getting the Shockwave loot. Didn't start with it, though. He was at the Orchard.
And a big difference from what we've seen for Flo is because usually it is the Shockwave loot that he's going for in the early game. That's why he got to this spot, but it doesn't matter. He'll grab it anyways, and he's even contested the Orchard. So all I said, Zeke, about being contested, reducing your chances of winning in grand finals kind of shifts when you see what Flowis just did, and it doesn't matter where you land. You can always stumble across Shockwave.
And this is kind of like talking about the quality of the players we're seeing, right? Like, yes, of course, we have mythic items to play around, but for someone like Flowis, it's like if he's going to walk up and he's going to take a fight and eliminate you, and that loot's just going to be put in his hands, it's like, okay, I'm already good. I'm already at a 10. You're just giving me that loot and now making me an 11.
And also to think about other people who usually have that opportunity to make it through, there was a lot of the big names. I mean, Janice fell off spawn, which you did not expect for him landing at Steamy Stacks with 2 players who play kind of passively in that. He got sniped. There was also a number of different people who fell in the mid game.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing and the number 1 word for all these players right now is momentum, right? Flowis finding that Shockwave launcher gives them a bunch. Janice getting taken out, as Baller just mentioned, stops the momentum overall, right? So in game number 2, these guys have to find a way to rev their engines faster and then get ahead of everyone else with momentum.
Oh, man, a lot of momentum here to start the day. Now, guys, I do want to continue, but I'm getting where the games are ready. So let's get ready to hop into game number 2 here of the Fortnite Champion Series in Europe. Let's see if the action continues.
Je pensais qu'il va faire top 1 là. Là, ça recommence.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shayo, and Bala. And I mean, I'm just so excited to see because I'm a personal fan, or like I'm a advocate for the fact that game one, it's a nice way to set the tone, but you really get an idea of how the leaderboard and how the lobbies are going to play after game two, because particularly with solos, it's about consistency and who's able to turn
arrête de jeter des trucs sur l'écran, putain, mais j'ai rien à faire.
it rolling, and you're really able to see
Le vieux cancer qui jette des trucs sur l'écran.
And into the third as well. If you're able to bounce back in that third and you really submit yourself at the top, you got a chance in that fourth, fifth, and sixth game to really turn online. Somebody who definitely needs to turn online, but Savage is going to go down and go Riley at the speed. So the contestation happened, and Savage unfortunately falling. Looks like Benji is trying to take down Kiriachi in the time being.
Yeah, Benji trying to set up one of those bushes here on the side. You can see him trying to pick up Kiriachi as he's going right for those slurp jugs. He is going to find the initial burst shots. They're opting not to use that sniper rifle and instead closing the gap on him as fast as possible. We'll see if he's able to get it. White tags coming through, using the tac shotgun and the high rate of fire to push through the box. And well done, Benji. We talked about the contestant over there, and he says, 0 out of 10 for the effort. The Russian judge doesn't even give him a point. Benji taking it down there, and that's 2 elims. Right off in the start for him there. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner the 2 most contested areas. Each with 5+ players right now, so a lot of space being pushed out.
C'est des Anglais, ils vont montrer que les Anglais, je pense.
Effectively, you're all taking one house of loot and saying, I hope this is enough.
Yeah, I don't know why 5 players are there. And I think it has to do something with Rezon. He scared everybody away from Holly, Hedges, anybody that normally landed in that path. He said, no, I'm just going to go try my chance at Salty there. As we are now over to the Fortilla. This is Mongrel, and he's been dropping here for a while. We know that. But he does not have Ocean's Burst AR in Ocean's Nautilus subject. Someone else may have snagged it from him, and with his aim and with what he can do with it, that Mythic Burst AR is so good here from him. It looks like he's not going to need it now as he's going to get some tags going into this fight. That player going to have to back out. Mongo, though, not going to let him do it. He's got to be careful. He is running out of AR ammo, but he says, you know what? Who needs an AR? I got a shotgun and a crash pad. I'm going into the box. He is going to miss the jump a little bit, almost deploying a crash pad there, but the continued pressure that he's keeping up is trying to keep this player from going any higher. And it's Smudge just trying to get away. He's got a little sliver of HP, but Mongo going to get in the box and do that Mongo classic and get the elimination.
And like he had to resolve that fight right away. Picking that up with the additional match drop. Not only has he is in the zone, since it did pull towards that south side, it's going to be defined so many other players around this area. It's going to be really hard to max out quickly, but now let's hop on board with our match number 1 winner. As you can see, the format in the right-hand side, each elimination being worth a point. You can see once you get into that top 10, you'll have 8 placement points going through, all the way up to 14 for first. Then you can see 11 through 15th is 7, 16th through 20th is 6. It's the intervals of 5, then the intervals of 10, and of course, you get that first placement point after the first 25 players have gone down. So still plenty of players who need to drop here, which generally is a little slower from EU. You'll typically see a little more aggression going on. However, as you get further and further on into tournaments, the stakes and the players become that much more difficult to fight against, and it's really hard to confidently take an early fight, as we have Rax and the Costa Rican Séville in a battle over here.
Ooh, and Rax on the back foot already. Now, this is that weather station just above Caddy. Séville going in. The shots are going to go through. He's going to get the initial damage, and he's going to follow up with the AR. The crouch cram, and it's going to pay off for him. The elimination comes through, but now the question posed for Séville is, can he go get Kit's loot? Can he go get the Shockwave launcher and that charged shotgun, or will he settle for some of the Vault loot?
Generally, that's the goal, is to go through, get whatever you can from the weather station, resolve the fight there, and then head down and hopefully pick up the remnants of whatever happened at Caddy Corner. But now we're going to swing on over to Authority, where we have Letwick. We're in match number 1, who was able to steal away that mythic glider grapple gun and just kind of rotate out. But now, match number 2, you can see Hardfind over on the side, and Hardfind looking to set up a trap and a bait. And we've seen this before a number of times, particularly around that vault area, where there are some areas you can't build. Players look to have just an immediate drop, but Letwick is set up really well in terms of his close quarters combat, just having that epic SMG, as well as the tactical shotgun and a legendary pistol, means he has 3 really high rate of fire weapons that give him plenty of abilities to just spam and pressure hardfind. He's going to be looking for an ambush here in a second, but right now, both players just farming up.
And it seems like they're respecting each other's areas of this authority. They kind of know, hey, he's going to be over here. I can tell by how he's looted. I know Letwig's going to be in this side because I know how he looted from hardfind perspective. But what's concerning about this is the players that are around. Carrot is there as well. You got 2 other players on the side. But Letwig is playing this very well. He's hitting some things and he's standing still. Because that's how the henchmen act. They walk around. Sometimes they'll hit stuff that's in their way. And then they'll stand still as you see one moving there. On the other side, we've got Wolfies, who's in a fight against some Marauders. Hopefully he's able to get out of those. The Marauders are very, very potent. They shoot you, they throw stakes at you, and they just will try to eliminate you at all costs. And they've got very, very good aim, especially with that hunting rifle there in the inventory of the Deadeye Marauder. Wolfies is pretty low, but he's got Arctic pretty low as well, 150 HP. Now the Marauders are coming in here. The third party, sometimes the third party does not always have to be an actual player. It can be the AI. This is really good for Wolfies. He's allowing the Marauders to go after this player and go after him for him and get the initial damage. But if he goes in, he's got to be careful. He can't look to go in right away with all these Marauders around him. He doesn't do any damage to him. They're going to be very, very, very hard to build through and walk through. As you see, the builds are going to get broken. This is bad for Wolfies. The shots are coming in, down to 11 HP. He's only got 2 builds remaining. Launchpad place, he can't build anymore.
Oh, mais il se fait tuer par les bots, il va péter un câble. Wow, ce qu'il a mis. Oh, le mec, il doit péter un câble, il se fait tuer par les bots. Oh là là là. Il y a des bots en plein tournoi, sérieux. Oh, le mec, il doit péter un câble en plein tournoi, il se fait tuer par les bots. C'est bizarre qu'il ne veut pas aller enlever les bots en pleine compète. Pleine compète, tu dois te fight avec les bots. Oh my god.
Natural cover on the map, those houses, the bridges, and the stuff that are nearby. But
il a déjà planté la tente.
Happy about that. Was trying to get a little bit of a
la tente est plantée, il bouge plus.
Punishing him right before he goes down. He says, "Hey, if I'm going down, you're coming down with me," and will also deny a key elimination point that could have gone over to Ardit. So ultimately, he's going to be upset his game is over, but at least he was able to pick up a little bit. Is now back on board here with Flois. And as we can see, he's used to fast starts, placing first with 5 elims in game 1 of heats as well. So let's see if he can turn this confidence into something more, as he is over on the northeast side of the zone with plenty of players around him. However, he has priority on the rotation, but not a ton of materials to really do it. You don't want to be forced to burn those metal and the brick here. We refer to those as the hard materials, because once they get built up, they provide that much more defense for you. However, just they're so much harder to get naturally as you move through the map that
ouais, mais lui il met ses trucs.
Finding Cammy there, and you can see immediately he's gonna head over there because he's like, hey, I need those maps, I need those refreshers. When we talk about refresher in the term, this is it, because that's gonna be refreshing for him.
Ouais, c'est lui qui a fait tout.
What a shot and a heads-up play by Flois. He desperately needed that, as well as his ammo was pretty low too. At least 74 AR. That's not enough going into an in-game competitive Fortnite game. You definitely want to have a little bit more like Noah Riley here. Again, takes off Mr. Savage and now has the loot to show for it. The yacht coming in clutch with this loot. He's got this player down, though, with those tags. But the big shield going to be popped there. And now Noah has to be careful. He wants to go aggressive. His instinct is to push it with that crash pad and get the aggressive play. That player back up to full HP. He's got to be careful. Shots go through the edit. Not going to connect on the shots there. Noah over the top. Shots come through. A 71 tag there for Noah. And now he's going in. Crash pad in. It doesn't matter, though. The crash pad is actually going to send him away. He's got to keep the pressure up to keep this player from popping any shields. And he's got the player back and forth, up and down, up and down. He's got the crash pad. He's going in. Shots are going to come through. The player puts the stare over the top of his head. And another good tag there. Noah's not able to find him. Noah's not able to finish him off. This player continuously layer changing, going up and down in between the builds. And Hydro was just trying to run for their life.
Hydro trying to put as much distance as possible, and unfortunately going to go down there. Good job for Noah Riley on the chase. We talk about how important it is to resolve fights, particularly because you don't want that opponent burning those resources, because when you do take them down, they'll drop them there, and you want to get as much as possible. You can see Noah picking up all of the minis there. He's back up to 6. Good job, still has 4 crash pads. And one thing you'll note in particular when you're looking at these mid-game fights and what you should be keeping an eye on. Anytime a player has crash pads, that will enable them to push into boxes. You've seen it in 2 different ways, both from the top down, where they throw it against one of those cones because it lets them fall in. And then a perfect example, thank you, Ross Jones, for showing it right there, winning the fight against Hardfind very closely with 6 HP. That's the horizontal crash pad where you find yourself up on the corner of the wall, you throw it against that corner, and it'll end up landing right behind you. It pushes you forward into the box, but it won't affect the other player. So it allows you to line up your shot ahead of time, and most times it'll also put you behind them, so they're not able to play defensively, as Orange trying to play defensively here, but Bafo just comes in and says, hey, you didn't have enough time to reset and get your shields up. I will take all that loot. Thank you very much.
And that's the dangers of taking a mid-game fight, is that if you take any damage, you're going to get third-party. Players are going to recognize that shield crack sound, and they're going to move in. But on the other hand, look at Lewick. He took that fight, got out, and now is on the move. But Carrot is setting up an ambush, and the shots coming through. Lewick has been cracked. Look at the box separation that he just did there from Carrot. Going to time to possum, and he's the stair with the top is not his. He does get a nice layer change coming out and above, but he doesn't have enough time to pop the big shield. He's just looking to try to pop another mini, and he does get it off. And now he's looking for a shot. He needs to put the pressure back onto Carrot, because if not, then he's just going to keep running around, and Carrot's finally going to be able to get a shot on him. And Carrot decides, you know what? Not worth my time, not worth my materials, not worth my HP.
I'm 50-50 on that. It felt like if Carrot had kind of kept pressing, he might have been able to pick up Letwick, particularly because, look at Letwick, there are only 20 total builds coming out, but that also means if you are able to take him down, you're not going to necessarily get that much back. You'd only get the 35 total, and it's really not going to be that beneficial unless you're able to rotate cleanly off of it. Both have the crash pads, but now you can see fight going on here between Diablo and NXS Z-Andy. Z-Andy on the back foot here, and Diablo trying to push forward. Somebody we've seen had the capability of playing aggressively. He is above that Storm Surge threshold, so just trying to hunt this player and doing a good job of keeping Z-Andy on the back foot. Does get the cone replaced, owns both, edits back under. Z-Andy able to replace that stay there, so Diablo just going to reset for a second, make sure he's still back up at near that 100-100 threshold, and then Z-Andy going to go down. So good job making sure he picked that one up. Z-Andy was below that Storm Surge threshold. Diablo will see that coming through the Storm Surge.
Mais quel bâtard, mais sérieux, mais putain, ils ont rien à faire les mecs là, sérieux. Non.
Diablo is currently 130 damage above. Z-Andy was below, which means he takes that 25 damage every 10 seconds, and it also signals to Diablo, hey, I can just tag this guy up and then wait, because any damage he does for to that player, as long as they go down within a minute, he will still get credit for that elimination. He will still get the point, then he can go over and safely pick up that loot.
That is another aspect of competitive Fortnite that everyone has to think about. That Storm Surge, it plays a factor into so many of these players' games. Sometimes they forget about it because they're pumping, they're rolling, they got their mats, they got their ammo, they got their builds, they're in zone. And then they're like, wait, I didn't tag anybody this game. I got to look for tags. Frenzy Fishy on the other side above, and a good amount above. If you're about 100 to 150 above, you're looking at a good spot. As shots come through, he's going to take advantage and find swaps with one AR shot. That is what you needed. We saw Thomas H. do that in the first game. Just find any sort of elimination that you can, far away or up close. Don't even have to risk yourself getting tagged up for it. Beautiful elimination.
Yeah, but you notice how he's doing that behind a cone and editing a single wall. That's to avoid all of those hunting rifle headshots that we've seen come out time and time again. You don't want to get a game ender looking for some of those tags to make sure you're safe. But that being said, when we talk about tags and going through, that's generally meaning you're looking for long-range shots, not with the intention of actually trying to eliminate the opponent, but just doing some damage so you're not threatened by the Storm Surge, as Flois ends Froggy and puts a prime example of why you need a cone in a window and to limit the number of angles you have, because so many of these top-level players will be carrying those weapons, particularly in EU, that is known for their snipes and hitting their shots. Well done from the game #1 winner, who's continuing to roll with the momentum here. Boxed up next to Arctic, passive over the side, as we're transitioning now into that mid-game kind of territory, as players are starting to get closer and looking for priority in terms of zone number 4.
What an elimination. He needed it too. He only had 2 hunting rifle shots. That first shot needed to hit. He didn't really have a chance to follow up if it didn't. Very heads up play by Flois. First place, taking down second place. That is, hey, that's pretty good for your mentality. Even if he goes down here and be like, hey, I took out my competition, so I know I'm pretty secure there. But we're still pretty early on into the games, so you can't really do much with it.
And it's important to note when they stress during the top of show how every single interaction matters. Right there, Flois eliminating his direct competition right now, the player who is closest to him, who's able to pressure up. That means if he's able to build up a lead now, it's going to be that much more substantial because effectively he's eliminated one of the players who can threaten him the most, as now we're on board here with ADN. We saw him have an amazing run yesterday, pushing in. Right there, you can see the Dorito at it being taken down, and that's such a good push. Fastroki was looking to set up a crash pad there with that edited cone in his box, but ADN dropped in and then occupied the space, stuck to the AR, and then just used the weapon to close it out. Well done getting a key pick there in a mid-circle.
And he desperately needed his match. Were not looking good. Still are not looking good as well. So he's going to have to find another impact elimination along the way as we're on board here with Ardent. Again, mats are not looking good. Now, there is a player's loot there in front of him that he more likely got the elim from. He's not actually prioritizing picking it up right now. It seems like he's just looking to build and then go for the loot. Mr. X is nearby. Benji's nearby as well. Hardest in an awkward spot. We've got Scram in this game here as well. Handy, passive, slick. A lot of players on the line. 61. We talk about Storm Surge. This is a threshold where it's 50. 11 players need to go down. Narda makes a heads-up play to get a box, and Crash Pad's going to come through, but that's bad for him. Unless he hits the shot. Shots come through, and he does. Maestro going to go down the aggressive play, not going to be rewarded. And Ardent will be rewarded for his passiveness.
Yeah, and you can see the reason why so many players are fighting right now, both that Storm Surge and trying to get priority. We talk about fourth zone. Look in the bottom right-hand corner. Everyone is looking to box up and stake their claim on as much real estate as possible for when that half in, half out reveals. You don't want to be sharing a spot next to somebody as you go to rotate, and they're looking to clear out the players nearby as Ardent picks up Flois there. So 1 and 2 are down. That's going to open up the leaderboard. Tons of players will have an opportunity to charge up. Eyes are now on Hen and whether or not he can kind of extend his lead out there as Ardent also picks up Lecce. Mongrel getting scout there in a brilliant job because he's now cleared out all the players on this tarp. In that next, the half in, half out, the one before moving is pulling directly over to this cluster of players. So Payson, Benji, Helix, Wyzip, Mr. X will all be over there sharing the half in, half out with Ardent. They all have priority on everyone else who's rotating into the zone. So they're going to be fighting among themselves to make sure they're safe and not going to get ambushed, and then swap over to what Tayson's doing now and looking to catch the players, burning their rotation, burning launch pads and crash pads, trying to get into this zone.
And this is very lucky for Tayson because, again, you stress the amount of builds in the inventory. He only had 54. That is not where you want to be for this endgame. So he has to find an elimination to get to these moving zones effectively. He does have the 6 crash pads, but when you start to use those crash pads, you start wasting those builds as you box up, and he needs to find somebody. As shots come through, he's not going to be able to beam people out of the air just yet, but we do see Nebby unfortunately falling, but he did get that top 50 placement threshold, which is what a lot of people are playing, that consistency. Hey, at least I went down inside of that. Payson, however, is looking to get aggressive, and I believe that's on, I think this is Benji. I'm 97% sure Benji is right nearby. If Benji makes the wrong edit, he goes into a box that's not his. Tayson is going to go aggressive. The big shoulder is going to be popped, and it's going to come through. No crash pad in, shots coming through, and Benji's going to go down. Tayson going to take him down.
You called that he was looking for it, waiting for Benji. He heard him trying to set up and get some space, knew he was pressured around the side. The horizontal crash pad entrance puts him behind Benji, cleans it up with the tactical shotgun, and well done. And Hen, the third place player on the leaderboard before the last game, going on the high ground right now, has priority position with Enos and Mongrel just below him. Also Floki on the same ground, but we're going to hop on over to the Become Legends player. He's been playing so well recently, cleaning up the Cash Cup on his birthday. Had a phenomenal performance yesterday to also guarantee him spot here, and he has priority on this next zone. What that means is he's the closest to where the safe zone has to go past. So as it funnels and everyone else rotates, they have to go past Hen. You do not get to past Hen, and you notice he's built so much space around him, so he can't be shot at in return. all of these shots are completely safe. So anything he's able to convert on will turn into points for him here, as another placement point does take over. Now he's not shooting through that wall. That is just one of the graphical issues with the replay. He's picking up tags, but now you can see setting up a crash pad, going to use it to go on the rotation late. They picked up a key elimination onto Wizit there, as we have our top 35.
And it's such a key elimination because he gets JULS glider gun, and now he's got free rotation everywhere. He could win this game based off that elimination. It was such an impact elimination, but he's being a little bit too greedy on that zone. He did get tagged up, but he's still good. Rotation coming in. We do see Safek going down, and rotation X SUIS went down as well. So a lot of the big names are out of this game, but Hand looking to keep his dream alive and take down one player who landed right on top of him. That was a very, very heavy elimination onto Pablo. But he's not that healthy. He has those minis in his inventory.
Tu regardes un film sur Fortnite. Oh non, c'est une compétition.
He needs to find the outside. He can't be
C'est
in
une
this
espèce de
cluster. It's
compétition.
really weird to take the grapple gun and then immediately go into the middle, because you don't really have the ability to utilize it. And that's what we're looking for, getting towards the outside of the zone so he has more options there. Anas, teammate up on the high ground there, but this is the solos competition, just playing for the same org. You have Gamers Origin, Deceptos there on the middle as we tick over top 25. Another point going through. Enough running through the high ground. Reason still in the match, and you can see Deceptos picks up Ardit there as top 20 ticks over. Another point going through, and right as I say his name, Reason ends up going down. This is looking like a Become Legends top 15 right now, as they have 3 or 4 players still up, but Deceptos trying to find the space, finding a good job, tarping his way through and making sure that he owns all of the builds on this level as we close
Ils en ont rien à foutre de ce match.
Sniper missing out on a key placement point in Deceptos.
Je me suis dit, il est testé, on verra bien.
Doing a good job to deny the rotation.
Mais bon, ça sert à rien apparemment. Il faut faire ça que quand il y a des gros matchs, sinon ça sert à rien.
He has to find that. That's such a key pickup. Inside the top 15 we go. Can he chase down this player? And he finally gets it. That snipe going down. But Hen is still up, picking up the Lion as we get into our top 10.
Deceptos is going to have to make a play to play up a little bit of an incline. You see it. The old builds are there as well. Hand is going to fall. Slick going to fall in tandem. Top 10 placement points being missed out by both of them. That's a huge boost as well. Deceptos able to hold on to the player on the other side. Shots are coming through. He's getting the tags, and he does. Frenzy Machine is going to go down. Deceptos needs to get out of zone, though. He is sitting and ticking. He doesn't have any floppers. He's looking to get in, and he does, but a shot comes through.
Il a pris.
Now, two eliminations here for Floki. The player right on top of him. He's got to be careful. Shots go through. Back in the zone goes Floki. Down very, very low. Now inside the zone. He's good to go. But he's looking really, really rough. He doesn't have floppers. Mr. X is going to go down. Stacy going to be the one to do it. He's still trying to be popped there. And look at Anas just Tyro whopping all the way on top. He's just walking over old builds. I don't know how many builds he's got left, but he may be able to win this. Solely just the fact that's going over old builds. And the old builds giving him priority, that moving zone, we talked about it, it just randomly pulls a distance back away, which means you can continue your rotation. And on top of having the old builds, his saving grace has the mythic loadout as well. So this is so big for him as we move into the top 5. 4 players left, but Anas has complete control over this lobby. You can see Tayson as well in the middle. Scramguard and Snazy are going to round out your top 4. Who will finish it off? Will Anas continue the run of the caddy corner loop, moving it out, or can somebody from the low ground shut him down as Tayson picks up Scramguard? So each elimination, each placement here, an additional point as Tayson ends Snazy right there. But the shockwave launcher comes out right away and knocks him over the zone. And Anas does get tagged, but he's able to pop the flop in the zone and then gets the follow-up tag with 6 HP to spare. Become Legends Anas from the high ground. 4 eliminations in the victory royale, taking game number 2. The flop was what he needed to pop, and he did do just that. The victory royale is going to be nice. I think maybe able to move into first place after that game just on the number of points and the eliminations, but we're definitely going to need the analysts to break that one down, so we're going to send it right over to them here in a moment.
Mon frère va sans doute se venger comme je lui ai acheté.
Thank you guys so much. Great cast here in game number 2 of
Pourquoi j'ai
Europe.
fait ça?
Anas finds the victory royale there.
Qu'est-ce qui t'a
Mad props to him. Now here's the thing though. Tayson, another big name we're used to seeing. We're talking about the quality of players. This is someone who's coming in strong.
Il va pas le voir.
Game in 5 eliminations. Had he
Il a 100 € de V-Bucks, il va pas le voir.
That 4-point swing would have actually moved him higher up the leaderboard, and we'll see that as we take a look at the standings. and look at who is currently holding down that number
Il
one
va y
spot.
voir que du feu.
Usually who ends up winning the game is always at first. That is the same story here right now. BL and NOS all the way up top from Royale, 7 elims, 28 points. But what happened that game was a bunch of eliminations from top players, changing the standings from 2nd all the way to 10th.
And there's BL hand in 2nd there. Somebody definitely to keep an eye on because he plays 4th in the first game. Not necessarily the biggest boosting points this game. Other names too, TOUS, who's the king of placing 5th place.
Dommage, ils marquent pas le drapeau à côté à côté de leur nom, ils pourraient mettre le pays, tu vois. Pour dire de quel pays il vient, tu vois.
Reason still stays around the 9th place mark, but still improves at least in this game.
And there, we move on over Letwick, Scramguard, Sniper, Kinzel, Mongo, Carrot. I mean, look at all these names. Thomas, HD, Floki, Frenzy Fishy. There's so much heat coming off of the grand finals right now. Every single person could walk away the victor, and especially when we're this tight, and we still have 4 games left to go, boys. Anything could still happen. There's all these guys at the top making these power moves right now.
You're saying look at the names. I'm looking at the points, too. You're mentioning that it's tight. It's like a 2-point difference between everyone. They are neck and neck. Become Legend Slicks is here, too. Twain's are deep. Like, all these guys are playing so well, but they're playing well while others are, too. And no one can really break away. B.I.ENVENUE, who we're used to seeing in the top 10, at 24th. And from what I'm seeing, he's having good games still. It's not enough, though, for that number 1 spot.
It's kind of another kind of slow start for B.I.ENVENUE, which I think some people are starting to get a little used to. He always rises at the top, but that might be a sign that it's
il va aller se plaindre de ta maman.
Maman,
maman, je viens d'acheter un skin sur Fortnite.
Together, guys, we got to talk about it. More of these powerful plays coming out of these impact players.
Tu la punisses de tablette, elle a acheté un skin sur Fortnite.
Manifesting this win right here, right now.
Yeah, Grand Finals is all about power, and it comes in many different forms. We're starting off with how power
ah bah non, maintenant avec ton portable, tu peux regarder YouTube, non? Avec ton nouveau téléphone, tu peux regarder YouTube, non?
And it's all because B.I.ENVENUE scares Noah into going somewhere else, but into somebody who might end up struggling because B.I.ENVENUE saw a sign of weakness and because
la pièce préférée d'Axel, l'étoile.
To grab more space. Kiriachi looking in the background, and B.I.ENVENUE knows, and he will hunt. This is one of the best players at fighting in the early and mid game, and B.I.ENVENUE is not scared whatsoever.
Got power vacuum basically here over at Slurpy Swamp, and B.I.ENVENUE gets in the box with style, breaks through, it's a big shot, and shows his power after.
Ouais, maintenant, quand j'étais jeune, oui, maintenant, je vis plus avec elle.
I say yes, but it might be overconfidence as he pushes a fight against one of the best players in the world.
Normalement, non. Les filles sont jamais chiantes. MDR. LOL. Parce qu'il y a mieux sniper, mais non. Parce qu'il y a mieux la carabine.
Over to advise, and we see one of our new players who are in that 2nd place slot.
Second place for Hen after a very good game number 1, and follows it up with a pretty decent game number 2, a 10th place for him, but a couple of elims to boot. That will put him where he needs to be if he wants to grab that crown at the end of the day, the ultimate sign of power. He falls in 11th, but that's at least solid enough.
Yeah, and this is where power starts for a lot of players in this game. It was Anas who ends up winning, who had Caddy Corner and the Mythic Loot as well. The Shockwave Launcher, Hits Charge Shotgun too. And he just made power become his tool in this endgame. He became Legend incarnate, literally just personifying the organization he's on and using this entire endgame as a playground, bouncing people up, shooting them down afterwards. Look at that 2-piece right there. Anas looks so dynamic, and yes, we saw Flois with the hunting rifle. We saw him with the charge shotgun last time, but for me, it was Anas's gameplay, his creativity that really separated him from the pack and showed us his power.
And Anas, that's kind of what we were talking about in Caddy Corner last time. We saw Thomas there for a brief moment, but this time it goes down. Kit spawns down at the gas station, and that's where Anas is lurking. He had a good game last time in 10th place, but if you want to become legend at the end of the day. If you want to
chiants.
solidify
Tu me
yourself
déçois
to become the
énormément,
great,
donc tu peux
immortalize
pas y
yourself, you need to have games like that. The Nas and Hen, both at the top of the leaderboards. Org
J'en viens
mates,
de le mettre en
and they're
finale.
standing
Ok, pas de
strong.
soucis.
Both of these
Qu'est-ce qu'il
guys
fait
are
lui là?
definitely looking to break away. I
Bouge
mean,
là,
Anas
toi.
is ahead of the game, 28 points, but Shai, is that gonna hold?
Didn't hold in
Arrête, t'as le
one
faux
with
floss,
Lois.
frère.
I feel
Il
like when
fait le
Anas
fou, il
gets
a un
that
floss
top
pourri,
spot,
frère.
he holds it completely,
Il a une
especially at
copie
catty
du
corner.
floss, il veut
So
faire le
I feel
dingue.
like, yes, that's my call.
C'est le faux floss, frère.
I
T'as le
like
floss de
good
Wish,
size.
frérot.
That being said, guys, let's throw it into
Il a le floss de
number
Wish.
3 here in EU.
Ouais, au revoir,
FNCS
allez, bouge.
Grand Finals. Casters, we're sending it back
Avec
our
son
way
floss
to
de
get into the
Wish.
action.
Il a acheté sur Wish son floss, frère.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shayo, and Bala. Insightful as always, and everyone is looking to become a
Arrête, tu l'as acheté sur
now,
Wish,
from
frère,
each
ton
players
floss.
occupying first and second, and if you're
Non, il nous
just
fait son
joining
floss
us,
de... Regarde.
welcome. My name is Sundown,
Avec son
joined here
floss
by the
de
fantastic,
Wish,
as
là.
always, playstyling. This is
Son
match
floss bas de
number
gamme,
3,
tu vois.
the halfway point of the EU FNCS Solos
Non.
Grand Final.
Allez, les
If you're
enfants, bougez de
watching
là, là.
at Party Royale and you just dropped in, hit one of those telephone booths, the changing stations. Make sure
Allez,
you
les
hit your
cancers,
favorite button,
dégagez,
head on
là.
over to the
Putain,
main stage,
bouge,
test the
toi.
action out. You can see where
Oh là là,
everyone's
mais
dropping
c'est
right
cancer là-dedans.
And if you notice, the yacht only has one player on it, so I'm interested to see who that
Non, bah
player
voilà,
is.
qui viennent te casser les
This
couilles.
is
Oh
it
là
Noah
là
Riley,
là.
who came out on top? And of course, who's going to come out of Cali Quarter on top? That is always a
Oh,
question
c'est pas possible
in
de
all of
mettre comme
these
ça.
players' minds.
Right now you can see cutting
Là, on voit sa
out the
vieille
lane,
tête à côté, là.
over to
Bouge.
Anas, who's landing over towards the weather
Ouais,
station
dégage,
side
là.
of the caddy. You can see looking to figure out if he's going to be able to go through, pick up any amount of that loot, drop down into this area, see what's going on. As of right now, doesn't look like he's actually going to have a contestant in, but you can see also a number of players off and over just to the southwest of him. So right now, first shot coming out, we talked about those
Ouais,
closing rifle tags,
reviens.
not quite going to find again Anas. Game number 2 winner, current first place right now.
And he's in a very good spot to keep that first place, but Ken right behind him. We've got to keep our eyes on elimination feed for that come up as well. If Hen only 3 points behind is able to make a play to start to make the ground up, is Vadil going to get some nice shots there? The Doug Splashes, though, are going to do that player up. The nice edit is going to drop the player down. The edit around as well. He's got him boxed up, but the fish is going to escape as Vadil looking to crash pad on in, using the jump there. He's actually not going to go in. He's going to take the wall and the cone up top. And that was so smart to outplay Advise there.
Well done picking up Advise there. We talked about kind of the different types of crash pads and then the variations.
Attends, je reviens. Ok, ça
jumping up
marche.
prevented him from falling in. So
Ah,
then when Advise went to exit the situation, got picked up, and now over to Slurpy Swamp. We watched this fight happen last time. Benji aggressively pushed Kiriachi, saying, no splitting going on here. This is my side. But Kiriachi now looking to be the predator instead of the prey and closing in on Benji as he's hitting these slurp barrels. So wants to kind of resolve this beforehand. And now box to box, how do two of the best players in the world close out this box fight? Do they look to take each other on, or are they just kind of trying to disengage the situation? Right now Benji's saying, hey, I need more mats if we're going to go toe to toe.
He disengaged perfectly, got up, and is out. I also want to point out 35 of the current players also competed in the FNCS Invitational Finals. So they've been here before. They've been in this grand finals. They know what to do, especially these two players on the screen right now. As Kiriachi is going to take some damage there from Benji, who is keeping that pressure up with that rare tactical shotgun. And now seem to find a creative way inside. Kiriachi actually went up and around. The shots going through, exchanging high ground and exchanging shots. As Benji takes a nice tag there on the Kiriachi. He still has yet to take any damage himself. Kiriachi is still pushing. This is exactly what we expect from him. And Benji baiting him to drop down. Kiriachi was ready. The back and forth going in favor of Benji right now. Kiriachi keeping the pressure up. Benji going to get tagged up a lot there because he couldn't build the floor. He's trying to pick X for that code as the edits come through. Benji going through old builds. This is really good, but once you reset that metal, it's very, very weak and it's easy to hit. Please put some distance in between him, Kiriachi, and Domenia Snipe.
I was about to say, Domenia Snipe, hearing the action going on, wants to take a peek inside, but he very well knows who's there, and I'm not sure you want to jump on into that pond. Don't want to get boxed like a fish between those two. It's more like getting boxed between two sharks. A rock in a hard place. You pick which one and who's who, because Benji, right now, just again, looks like he's done enough to fend off curiosity. You say, how long are we going to do this for? How long are we going to burn mats and just sit here and force each other back? Because both of these players are good enough to hold the other off, or at least make them pay for it if you don't get that initial ambush off of the start. Which is why you now see Curiosity a little bit, making sure he gets some mats before heading back in towards Benji again, looking to potentially respark this engagement.
And I'm not surprised from Curiosity. He is very, very aggressive, but we'll have to see.
Ah, t'as mis ton pyjama par-dessus tes habits.
Now being aggressive onto
T'as mis ton pyjama par-dessus tes habits.
Now Sevator can disengage if they want to, but on the edge of zone, really hard to disengage because you're trying to run away, then you're just going to get shot in the back, and it's just unfortunate there. So box to box, diagonal to diagonal, Diablo and Sevator looking to do a little peanut butter edit, look to get that jump shot there. Sevator looking to get any sort of wall take back, and he does, but Diablo ready for it. The shot comes through, the quick reset there. Going to get the tag in favor of Sevator, but still not as much HP there as Diablo. His shots are still coming through. He does pop a mini. Continued back and forth over these peanut butter.
Je veux pas le dire en live.
He goes in, he goes aggressive with that crash pad, but Diablo was ready for it. Did you see how many edits he had, how many space he had in between him and Sevator? He was predicting that perfectly. But Sevator's ready for the edit. He's ready for Diablo hopping up, and he said, you know what? I'll make the heal out, but I'm going to get that elimination.
Yeah, and a really good job from Sevator there, baiting Diablo into something that he had owned and then committed him to the fight, caught him with the builds out, and then following up with the tactical shotgun. And it's really fruitful to resolve that fight because there was a player boxed up right on the edge of zone who would have been able to rain shots down. And again, if you are just joining that, there's the format on the right-hand side. You can see first round of placement points coming through, top 75, next one at top 50. Then it's every 10 players to fall until we reach top 25. Then it's every 5 players until you're into the top 3. So definitely making those enemies. Also, 1 point per each elimination, as Carrot will pick up Phoenix there. Will also get a point, and that's his second win.
And he may have taken coolest out of his name, but right now he's the coolest of the authority, picking that elimination up. He's been very, very good. He actually, I believe, one of the players that came through the open track of the Invitationals. That happened a couple months ago, but still maintaining prowess over the authority here. He was here back when it was the agency, so dominant performance from Carrot. He's also got the zone there as well. You see him already building up and refarming. In Misty Meadows, however, Ardent looking to set up an ambush like we've talked about, hiding in this little upgrade room. He can catch anybody waiting to upgrade their loot. He's got a great charge to do it with a legendary at that. And somebody is taking the bait. They're coming into the house. The question is, will they open it? He set a trap up perfectly. He set a trap up, but he put a wall, Griff. Put a wall there. The peppers, the shields, everything being popped there. Ardent, though, not going to be able to spring the trap as Griff was ready for it, and Griff turns the tide.
Oh, il avait un de ses stuff. Oh, il y a 41 têtes de bâtard. Lascar, le pompe en or, full popo. Il est refait, mec.
Game number 2 getting eliminated pretty much basically off
Qui est dans le live?
Trying to spring a little bit of an ambush there, but instead
RD2 Jean, Julia, je crois que vous êtes que 3.
Very impressive run in order to make the qualifier here, but now on
toujours présente.
A player who we saw be super successful in the heats yesterday. The problem is he hasn't necessarily really converted it today. Consistently seen him towards the top. And coming in, so not doing too bad today, but probably also a little bit outside in terms of the placement that he would be wanting, averaging a top 27 placement and 5 elims total across the 2 games.
And I think that may be due to the amount of loot that he's getting. He is in a team with 3 or 2 other players. It's really, really hard to find.
Il y en a, ils veulent pas parler après.
Ils
font comme ils veulent.
But that common AR is not going to net you a lot of elimination. He's going to have to find a way to upgrade that, whether that be through an impact elimination or finding one naturally. As it seems like this is the open side of zone, and that meaning there's not that many people.
Ah, je suis déjà... Ah, merci à toi, RD des gens, de gens. Merci à toi, frérot. Ça fait plaisir. Ouais.
Not where he wants to be. There is a player nearby. He's got to be careful with the sniping. If you don't have it, he's going to turn the beams back onto him, but not going to hit it. He is only 22 above Storm Surge, and that is nowhere near safe. As you see it, already ticking down to 19.
Yeah, and that Storm Surge threshold on the right side of your screen there. The number for zone number 3 is 70, so currently 17 players have to go down. Bad Sniper will be starting to look for tags here, but also doesn't necessarily want to overbuild himself too much.
C'était ça la réponse. Belote 4.
So if he has a
J'heureux.
lot of players
Ok, plus tard,
spamming towards
R
it,
des gens.
difficult. He's not in
De
the
gens.
safe zone yet, and now only 4 above. You talked about how kind of that threshold.
Ah, c'est moi, Belote.
Trade some tags out, get himself above. We have Ovation and Smudge.
Non, non, c'est ton ref.
Closing in on him, as well as 2 players already in the zone coming back, and this is going to be key. And he got it! Huge tags and the Elam coming on to Meta Shrimsy. Super
Je sais pas, ils montent même pas de français, frère. Ils sont anti-français ou quoi? Je crois bien qu'ils sont anti-français. Ils veulent pas montrer de français.
The 62 above just turned to 60 above, and then it's going to turn to 52 above, and you're going to
Salut
start
les 4
trickling down that
poissons,
leaderboard,
les
and
copos.
everybody near you looks to get eliminations. The Bad Sniper maybe looking to set up an ambush here onto Keswick.
Ok.
Will be a snipe nearby Skype there as well as a sniper
Il n'y a
shot.
pas une autre fille sur le live. Je sais pas. Je pense pas. Il doit être la seule.
On his tags again is above Storm Surge, but not by much as we see Letty
Je sais pas trop.
down the premises limit there. Snipe though has a very good position in zone. He can rotate to his right or his northeast there to really make a play on that side of zone. His shots are going to come through. He heard that sniper shot come through, and that player got tagged up by everybody. And Arion is going to fall down.
A single shot going through there, and we talk about it. You miss 100% of the shots.
C'est quoi cet anneau là? Il y a un anneau. Un anneau qui est bugué.
You might get a little bit of that RNG on your side and pick up the elimination. Somebody else did most of the work, the hunting rifle shot coming through, but he'll be the benefactor there as Kinzel now is going to put some pressure here onto Flopper Michael. Again, a number of players still under that storm surge.
La vie, il monte pas de French, putain. Ah, grave, c'est des bâtards.
Impact the players who have done the least amount of damage to opponents.
Non,
But
il n'y a pas
Michael
d'autres
punishing
filles.
Kinzel there, who
Oh,
was under that
dommage.
pressure. As 4 more players will need to go down before it turns off. Controller 007 picks up Maestro.
T'es la seule et unique.
Goes down. Flopper Michael also under pressure here. He was the player who had the brilliant crash pad play yesterday. Can he set up another one here and end up converting
Après,
as
c'est
now
un
we
autre fille.
swing on over to Anas, get a nice little replay, see what's going on here, chaining the crash pads, landing directly on top of the player, and catching him over on the side. Sven, what are you doing?
C'est lui qui a fait le top
Cover
1,
your
je crois, la
back, man.
partie
You can't
d'avant.
be doing that on the edge of the zone, but
Anas.
Anas pushing himself further
Il a fait un
out
top 1 tout à
towards the
l'heure.
lead. Don't forget, he was in first place with 28 points, now sitting on 30, courtesy of the elimination and the first placement threshold.
Very great play from Anas to realize that he was being ambushed here as well. He quickly got out of the situation. Now Andy looking to be aggressive and looking to push. The shots are still coming through. Anas continues his dominant solo performance. He plays 16 in the solos FNCS Invitational and 9th in DreamHack. And he's recently been turning online, you know, in these last couple of months. It's been really great to see him come into someone who could become a legend, especially after being picked up by that organization. With this disengage, though, it nets him a lot. He's able to refarm some of this metal as well if he wanted to hit that fence there. Refarm a lot of this wood as well. Benji picking up an elimination is good for him. But Anas, he was in a good spot. Now he's getting pinched by these players.
And I believe he also had a pretty solid performance at DreamHack Anaheim, flying out to that land and making it to the grand final there, but now hopping on board. Another player who was there, Bad Sniper, though, under pressure from Atlantis' Lecce. Trying to get in the box. Bad Sniper disengaging. Does have plenty of shields if he can make the space, however. Now in the zone, and that's a 2-tick zone. And as soon as it passes over and it closes, it's going to go to a 5-tick zone. So Bad Sniper is going to have a lot of the pressure here in terms of having the chug splashes and having the floppers compared to Lecce. Don't know his loadout, but doubt he has as much heals as that, and going to be punished there. Yep. No additional white heals coming out, so the siphon really beneficial for Bad Sniper there, and he has a relatively clear path to the zone now. You can see on that bottom right-hand corner, only 1 or 2 players who are going to be in his way.
And that's always unfortunate, is getting eliminated in zone as you're just trying to rotate through. As Anas doing the same.
Safia la baisse. Salut. Ouais, tranquille ou quoi, Safia.
This time, but He's got to be careful. This elimination will net him so much. It'll give them loot. If that player heals as well, it'll be so good. As Andy is staying more healthy than a not. The zone once it closes, like you said, 5 tick, and now it goes down. Shots are coming through between each other. And Andy's got that flopper. He's going to be able just to outlive Anas here unless Anas makes a play. But no, Anas down, and that's number 1 out of the game.
Anas being taken out there. The pressure from the storm, the 5-tick zone. Andy eating all the cabbages, knows exactly where they went, directly into his stomach there. Also has the floppers and the bandages as well. So I'm actually going to argue that he should have used the bandages there and allowed the cabbages to tick himself over the top, but instead going to pop that flopper, going to limit some of his mid-game and later game options there, but opting for safety is now swing on board with reason. Relatively solid performance, was in 9th coming into this game, currently sitting on 18 points, and has a decent loadout.
Je suis le seul à regarder le live sur PC. Moi je suis sur le PC. Mais...
And he has no crash pads and only 1 pepper.
La best, normalement. Oui, je crois. On est de moins en moins de gars rébellion. Ouais, la sœur de gens m'a passé son tel parce que c'est cassé mon tel. Ah, ok. Voilà, c'est bon. T'es content de Julia maintenant. Est-ce que t'es contente, Julia? Le site, je te l'envoie dans le chat. Opting to drop down and just return to his safety as everyone else is going to rotate into the zone. This is zone number 4. So priority positioning is going to be towards the outside. We're going to be keeping an eye on who ends up going towards high ground and who is laying out on that low ground.
Easy able to make it here. Another player able to make it into this end game is going to be Savage. And with that off-spawn elimination on the Noah O'Reilly, I'm assuming that elimination there, Noah O'Reilly went down early. It's got to be Mr. Savage. That is coming through. Nice and pick up there by Savage, but someone trying to capitalize on him. Scott's coming through. He's going to pick up a double. Heat's going to go down. Queasy going to go down. The pressure's not done yet. The crash pad's coming in. And the crash pad master, Mr. Savage, going to be able to pick some up there. And he's ready to fight. He's ready to go aggressive. Someone on top of him. Going to be bad sniper there, trying to box the box. Steady there as well. Savage really needs to make a play to get out of this. Going up into an old build will get him out for now. And what a phenomenal heads-up play. That's what you do when you get elimination. You realize there's more players nearby you, and you take them out as well.
Tu mets Modo? Non, pour l'instant, non.
We have our top 50, so Storm Surge turning
plus tard peut-être.
Going over, and don't forget, this is game number 3, so we're about to be at the midway.
Elle a changé
Fantastic opportunity with a knockdown for somebody else to unseat him and become that front runner. And we talk so much about momentum and whether or not you can hang on, and whether or not you can get running. And Froggy, a player who thrives on momentum, finding a key elim there on the backside of the zone, using the launch pad, then getting in on the priority. Half in, half out, now closing in. After this, it will be all moving zones, so it's all about making sure you're safe, finding rotations, figuring out whether or not
Julia respecte pas les pseudos. Elle est pas d'accord. Elle est pas d'accord du tout.
See inside the cone, just sitting there waiting. He could crash pad it. We've seen it before. We saw it go against Benji. There's Hidden. He's gonna fall as well. Hidden goes down. What a big elimination there. Another player near the top of the leaderboard going down. Safik falling as well. Wicket's dropping down though. He knows there's players riding below him, but he wants a piece of the action because he's only got 53 builds. He definitely needs to find something. His ammo lacking as well. 5 shots with that charge shotgun is going to go through in an instant in this end game, so he has to pick up an elimination. He also does not have priority on rotation as it's pulling away from him. Or crash pads in his inventory will allow him to rotate, but not as effectively as some of these other players. And he's setting this trap. He's waiting for this player to just make the wrong edit and go out, but I doubt that they're going to fall for it.
Well, he's waiting. He does have priority on the zone. There's a player right next to his box. I wasn't sure if that player was on the cone. He finds the 83 tag and then follows up right away. ADN going down in 41st, misses the placement point. So a huge pick going right there. Mr. Savage still in the lobby as well. We're into the moving circles. That's the late game. You're going to start seeing players burning utility, using all their builds, just trying to get to that next safe zone and avoid fire from their opponents. But you also have to watch out for those sharks and those aggressive players, the playmakers, and the ones who are going to be the ones driving the action as we're on board here with Dual Media Snipe currently below the threshold for the Storm Surge, but that should turn off shortly here. Only 7 players need to fall. Dual Media Snipe will add into it right now, pushing himself above by taking out Griff and potentially finding a nice little upgrade there in terms of his. Yep, he will. He will get the legendary shotgun in there as well. And we're closing in on top 30 as 7 Tour picks up Nate.
And with Sniper, crash pads. This is what you want in this meta. You want to have as many crashers as you can. As bad Sniper is going to be caught trying to take a shield. Bongo's in this game. X-Weez is in this game. Letwick is in this game as well. We have yet to see Savage go down. Flow is in this game here. Rifla as well. 2 eliminations, 79 builds. We'll see if he's going to be able to get any more.
Deceptos is also still up. We saw him there on the wide. That was the player who was in third. He should be able to push up as the every 5 players will be a placement point. Reason gets picked over by Frenzy Fishy. Orange takes out Cartoon. 7 Tour gets Sebi, closing in on top 20. That's another point going over. As now Rifla looking to add his name to that list of the Become Legends players pushing their way up the leaderboard. But Deceptos picks up Wanloss and Savage picks up Z Andy. So still a who's who of top players left. But that's everyone in the lobby. As Thomas HC gets another one. Mongrel picks up an Elam and Rifla ends Mr. X's run. Skype also getting Orange. 2 more players will need to drop before we close in on that top 10 as 7 Tour also gets Mongrel. But the question is, who's on the high ground and is there caddy loot? And right as I say that, Thomas HD with that mythic shockwave launcher. Can we make it? 3 out of 3. Rifla though, bottom right hand corner of your screen. Dual Media Snipe, top right hand. 5 Elams for Snipe, 3 for Rifla. Thomas on the high ground and the wide on your left.
And Thomas using it so well, but Rifla is doing just as well. He's being aggressive there on the player. It's going to be a squeeze in the box as he is going to get the elimination there. Thomas may have the high ground right now, but Rifla is putting on a show. Snipe as well, 5 eliminations. Let's going to get taken down there by Video. Trying to get a take down another one as they're going up the mountain. He's reloading that shotgun. He's going to need it as Crash Bad's going through. 6 eliminations there for him. 4 for Rifla in the bottom right. Thomas still on the high ground. We're going up a mountain. Keen needs to get up. Otis, Skype, very low HP. Skype's out of builds as well. He's more likely going to take over to the zone as well as Keen. Rifla, very, very healthy. Crash pad up for high ground. Thomas HD going to take it for now. Dual Media Snipe, though, being aggressive. He's going for it. He does not secure it. Thomas HD in zone. Not as healthy as Dual Media Snipe now. Rifla with the RPG trying to throw it down. Shots coming on through. Chaos. Kane going to go down. Sky going to be the one to do it, so he stayed on through the mountain. The HP wasn't enough, but Snipe with 6 eliminations, player right on the edge of his box. He's going to take down Skype, and now Snipe versus Thomas versus Rifla. There's RPG's going to go through. You may have Kid Shockwave Launcher, but I've got a shotgun for you, says Rifla, as he takes him down. 5 eliminations. Rifla versus Dual Media Snipe on the low ground. RPG, Kid Shockwave Launcher as well. He's got too many things to reload. Will it be enough? Will he be able to do it? Dual Media Snipe in a bad spot, though. Does he have floppers? Does he have anything to make it work? Does he have any builds? Shots go through. Does that build dropping down? Shockwave's not going to be a factor here. RPG going to be used. Rifle concerned on only using that. And I think this may be the key to picking up the victory royale. A lot of builds remaining here for him. This is the game. Snipe is running out. RPG going down. That should be the shot, and it is. He gets the tag, drops down, comes through, and shotgun for the victory royale.
And brilliant decision from Rifla, opting to use the actual rocket launcher instead of that mythic shockwave launcher because the zone pulled back over old builds. He needed to destroy them. If you're covered, you're not going to be able to get through. So rather than wasting the rocket ammo, uses the destructive potential, secures the victory royale, and he says to his org mates, it's not about you right now, it's about me. All seize this opportunity. 3 games down, 3 games left. Zeke, Bala, Shio, please let us know what's going on, because this is so tense at the top. This is absurd.
It is absolutely tense at the top. I mean, EU is firing on all cylinders today, and it is an all-out battle at the top. We have to take a look at the standings. Now, we know coming into this game, Anas was holding that number 1 spot. But the question becomes, how many points has he racked up in that last game, and does he still hold that number 1 spot?
Tu m'as demandé ton avis. Je reviens après, je vais faire un truc avec maman. Ok, pas de soucis, Julia. À plus tard. Mon frère a 14 ans.
And DeCimdos is the one who's all the way in the lead in first place, 32 points, 9 eliminations.
Ça va durer longtemps, je te préviens. Ok, pas de soucis. Bonne soirée si je t'en vois pas.
He kind of had that first moment, that game one win, and now still got back. And then Rifle, it's kind of in order there, but all the players who won the games are literally tied up at 30 points.
It's all about Elims. Further tie for Nas and Rifle.
Yeah, things are going so fast.
Si top 1, je vais gagner.
Is still holding on to his spot. Froggy, who was second, is now in ninth. Thomas HD, Letwick, these legend status names are just doing everything they can. It is not enough to keep up with the top 5.
And Rifle is showing he belongs in that top 10, right? Coming off his first game, an 11th place with 2 eliminations. Second game, 73rd place, and now the victory out with 6 eliminations. These are the swings we need to see if people want that number 1 spot.
And there are swings happening. There might not all be seen because you can see it. Vidil in 19th place, he just had a very significant game. Look at the elims for him. He's actually tied up with those players up at the top of the leaderboards in terms of elims. He just needs to convert on some of these other games to make it really count.
Yeah, everyone past the top 10 are still hungry, and if they can't make these end games, just look at the elims for everyone. Carrot, Squeeze, AR, Baffo, they're past 5. They're fighting in that mid game, in the early game, doing whatever they can to get points and stay relevant after game 3 in this competition.
Guys, we are off to the races. We are halfway through this sprint, and we can see the finish line there. The question is, who will cross first?
The blocks are off. The starting blocks are completely off. These guys are off to the races, like you said. And we're kind of trying to see who's going to catch up when we get to the finish line. We're basically halfway there. And at this point, just trying to extend the lead until we get towards those final games and start dashing towards the win.
You got to pace yourself, though, right? We've seen it in end games. We've seen it on the leaderboards. These guys who are coming up on top to start with are now not being able to hold on to the first place slot. And it's about first place, Zeke.
Man, there's only one Axe of Champions to go around. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, as you mentioned, Bob, that we did miss out of this last game. You got to break it down for us, man.
That we do. There are so many things for these guys doing. It's kind of a freestyle on some attempts. Snipe for him. Long range charge shot and shots on players like Bassett, who started the day off so strong, but Snipe will start to rise. And there's another one. He's just looking through these small peak boxes, just the space in the end game to build up the box and get more of these. Every time you look out, there's so many people fighting to try to stay alive.
Yeah, you mentioned Vidil, who was very much alive in that last game, getting a record amount of 5 eliminations so far in his run in these grand finals. After that, still looking for more for everyone who was in this foot race. It was intense. They wanted to have a leg in the competition.
And we said it. Things that were missed. 7 Tour goes off on a spree, back-to-back elims, and he does it so well. There are so many people here in his lane, but for most of them, it's a false start in this endgame.
Yeah, he was sticking beside that storm so much, looking for shots from box to box, had the AR to clear out walls. After that, got into boxes himself. If you couldn't get things from range, he was right up in your face and got elims on players like Mr. Savage, moved past that note, and still played a phenomenal game, ending somewhere near top 15.
But there's no signs of anybody lapping anyone else, except for maybe the Become Legends guys. There's so many of these names starting to push up towards the top, and look at that back-to-back. 2 players looking to lobby focus on the same person, and it works out for one, but then the player who he actually had taken a little bit from ends up getting put down. That was Snazy too.
Yeah, it was a rough run for Rifle here. Just look at all the things he had to overcome. Box to box while getting third party, still got the elimination down, got to hold down the wall, and the coolest RPG shot after this awesome elimination on the Thomas HD I've ever seen. Clay was saying it was hard to actually get to this reloads down, get these power weapons situated, but he shoots an RPG, catches himself with a waterfall, and then connects with a drop down charge pump. What a play.
What a shot at the end. That is ridiculous. We've seen that a number of times from the Caddy launcher players. Kit Shockwave launcher so good, but in that case, he doesn't want to use it at all. Just relies on his pure instincts.
Dude, that's all it takes sometimes. Sundown likes to say it best. Some days you just have to make sure you can hit your shots better than someone else. And for Rifle, that's what we're seeing. He's like, hey, big time to make the moves. It's happening now. Now, guys, as the competition does heat up, we need to cool down. We have 3 games left before we make an FNCS champion. But with that being said, we're going to step away. When we return, we'll have the conclusion from Europe. See you guys in 5.
Comme j'ai cette place. Désolé. On ne peut pas parler en privé sur YouTube. C'est bon, parler comme vous voulez. En fait, désolé, pas grave. En fait, comment tu 212 what? Désolé, c'est mon correcteur. Je voulais dire comment tu vas. Ok, tranquille et toi. Depuis hier. Comment je peux faire? Correcteur. Le match est sur quelle chaîne? Attends, je t'envoie le lien. Coller. Ouais. Ouais, ça va commencer là en plus. Ça va bientôt commencer.
Hello and welcome back to continued coverage of the FNCS Grand Finals. I'm your host Zeke, joining us here on the desk as analysts. We got Shyway, we got Ball at TW. Gentlemen, we are halfway through the leg of this race, and these last 3 games are going to dictate who walks away as an FNCS champion. We're just going to get back into it because we have games on deck, so we're sending it back over to our casters, Sundown and Clay Sailing, to get us into the action. Take it away, boys.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shio, and Bala, and welcome back, everyone. This is game number 4 of the EU FNCS Finals. 3 games have been down, and we're also jumping a little bit into this one so we can stay up to date. Clay, what do you think of the action so far?
It has been tense, and it is going to be a nail-biter coming into this game. As we saw, the top is only separated by a few points, and there was a 3-way tie there. The third, of course, it all breaks down based on tiebreakers, but our Victory Royale winners are in second, third, and fourth.
Ils vont gagner, je pense.
Ouais,
il y a moyen. Mais après, c'est Ligue. Ils l'ont gagné beaucoup de fois, l'Europa League aussi. Ce qui m'a étonné, Barça vs Bayern, tu m'étonnes. Ils ont pris une fessée, Barça. Et aussi, il est aussi, depuis le Canada. Ok, merci à toi. De l'autre. Manchester United, ils ont gagné. PS à Manchester. Bayern, ils sont trop forts. Ouais, grave. Ils sont chauds, les Tigres. Moi, les Pays-Bas. Ouais. Comment fumer le Barça? Bayern, il a arraché le Barça. C'est grave. Intangible. Pas ce soir.
Getting tagged up in this early portion of the game is hard for you and for your loot because you have to invest time, you have to invest math and those shields to use it there. As we see Kiriachi going to fall there in the feed. Thomas has to be careful about going for shots like that. Standing still is never okay in Fortnite because it will always get you tagged up. He was luckily able to avoid it.
And Thomas HD knows all about that, known for being one of the best and most accurate players in Europe, particularly with those hunting rifles and sniper rifles, and able to punish the players looking to throw those shots in there and to rack up damage for Storm Surge. That's what we talk about when it's all about the tags going through there. But now we're going to take a look at a quick little replay here there as Flois will be able to pick up an Elan as he's going through here, but then I believe he fell right after that.
And landing in a different spot than he was normally, as he does end up falling, does he? He, in the gas station, has been changing up loot spots every single game today, and it doesn't seem to be working out after his great performance in that first game.
And Wolfie is actually also going down to himself there, which to me indicates he probably might have tried to RPG too close there. Wasn't a storm signal going off, so he will be taken out. We saw him go down early last game as well. Rifle actually going to yoink that elimination away there. As you can see, Thomas trying to close in, get as much pressure here. Rifle did close out that last game, so getting another elimination there. Really good job on Thomas using that shockwave horizontally, closing the distance onto passive and give him a little donkey laughing and take the L. If you're in Party Royale Island right now, you got that combo. Can you hit that combo real quick? Give him the donkey laugh into the L with a quick little dab and then back into the L. Show him what you got. Show Thomas HD some love because that was a well-executed play there. He's going to look to continue to roll with that loot into the finals.
And while Thomas is dancing, Mongrel falls on the other side of the map as well. So they're definitely needing to change it around. And this is something that's unique to see is that players near the top are not stopping. They are not stopping their aggression because they are near the top. They want to keep pushing the pedal. They realize how close it is. They say, you know what? If you're going to catch me, you need to go just as aggressive as I am, if not better. Deceptos is looking for a snipe, almost hits it, and he barely even saw that player. Would have been one to definitely put in the montage and the highlight reel. He's got to be careful. There's a player nearby, and he needed those tags because he is below Storm Surge.
24 below, 27 below, so it's going to continue to drop. You can see 77 players left. Once the storm does close in, that Storm Surge will come into play. Don't forget that is 25 damage every 10 seconds. And with only the 3 minis, that's very rapidly going to pick through. But he should have an opportunity here. There's multiple players rotating in front of him. Still 5 below after that 32 tag, so not quite enough, but might have a nice little ambush opportunity, especially with those 3 crash pads here. However, he needs to be careful as there's 2 players here, and I think one of the players has to be below Storm Surge because they're in the zone and still pressing really aggressively.
And a nice heads-up tag there by Deceptos to get another tag for that Storm Surge. He's hopping the box. He's done with it. He says, you know what? I don't want to wait anymore. I want that tag. And with that elimination, he secures himself a placement point as well as the elim point going into that top 75 placement threshold.
Yeah, and a good job. So huge impact elimination there. We talk about tags, which is when you're just trying to land shots for some damage, not necessarily looking to convert, but a massive conversion, which ends up being 2 points to the placement swing, puts him well above the Storm Surge threshold. So their number 1 place, not going to be threatened by that, going to get a relatively easy transition into the mid-game after getting the resources from that elimination. But now, on board with Boffer here, slightly off of the top 15 pace in terms of 20 points, but more than capable of picking himself back up, and he is well above that Storm Surge threshold now. And oh my lord, the legendary pistol going to work. Ovations Arion going down there, and we talked about just how strong that weapon can be and why these competitive and top players are opting to pick it up. It's because in the most recent season, all of those assault rifles had their headshot multipliers change to be 1.5. The pistols, on the other hand, still have a 2.0 headshot multiplier, which means due to the higher rate of fire, if you're able to be accurate and find 1 or 2 headshots like you saw in that situation,
merci à toi,
convert into eliminations
Nasoshi.
on a really
C'est cool,
consistent
frérot.
basis, and sometimes even better with the AR.
C'est
But now,
non,
back on board
c'est
here
pas
with Thomas.
sorcier
The
et
reason we're
Jenny,
watching him is
vous
we're
savez,
checking that loadout. He's the one
les
with
dinos,
Mythic Loot, has the launch pad, and we've
c'est
seen
Jenny.
just how
Je
destructive
sais
it can
pas
be
sorcier,
in
j'ai
all of
envie.
these late game scenarios.
Nous allons étudier les dinosaures.
And Thomas has been mastering
Oh,
it
Jenny.
so far, but
Oui.
he does get
Tu
tagged
veux
up
que
again.
je...
This is not good for Thomas. He's got the shockwave launcher. He's got a lot of builds, but he's running out of heals as he's going to get a nice beam, and we'll see him shockwave here momentarily. No, decides not to. As Carrot seems like he ran
Thomas
out of
HD.
Master.
Le français Thomas HD. Thomas HD, le français, il est parti pour le top 1.
We saw him get mid-game elim. But this is the first time he's been able to actually get an elim and get the loot that comes with it. So that's going to be really good and really scary for these competitors. Because if he's able to pick up any minis or floppers there, he's in a good spot. Someone, however, not in a good spot is Ardent, as Hin takes him down very, very low. Artist's going to have to make a play, but there's no play to be made there from him.
On a même pu prendre de photos, j'ai pu le présenter.
Him to rotate through. Your Hen also good job dropping down, picking up whatever he could get there, because you notice not a ton of materials coming over just below the elimination counter to the right of his name. You can see the total number of builds he has available as it does start ticking down. So only about a third of the maximum available, because when you're in the competitive mode, there is a mat cap. It's not 999 metal, 999 wood, 999 brick. No, you can only carry 500 of those, which ends up equating to 150 total builds. Is now we're going to switch on over to an initial replay here of Hen putting pressure down towards the fight and getting kind of this first damage onto Ardent, and it's just like a really good job making sure he's closing this out. And you can see, because the storm is pressing up on the back and Ardent doesn't have the supplies or anything to really get past Hen, he's just forced to go, and Hen faking that he had rotated and then turning around. A really good job picking up that elimination. Because now we're going to hop back on board with our current leader, Gamers Origin Deceptos.
And where the Holly hedges, that's really good for players like Rezon. We have not had to move this entire game as it's coming to a close here. He's got a good position in zone as well.
Jest normy top 1%.
Storm Surge will be a factor in this next zone as it starts to
Ja się nie gram, no.
A little bit less of the players alive, as this was a harder rotate for some players to make. Deceptos, however, is in first, is not slowing down at any moment in time. Constantly looking for tags, constantly looking for picks, constantly looking for anything he can to continue to spread his lead even more, because he was only in the lead avoid this by going 2 points. Now will definitely be in the lead by at least 3 with that elimination, but that's not going to be enough for him. He wants to be 10, 15 points, however many more he can increase. That's where he wants to be, and he's actually following the path of Rezon right now.
And trying to do his best to play Fortnite as a platformer, just hitting all those crash pads, but unfortunately missing the second one, and he could end up paying for it as the spray comes through, and now he's going to be forced to burn some of the shields there, make sure he gets himself back up. You do see Rifla moving past him there. That was the match number 3 winner, trying to continue his momentum and rolling forward as now back on board here with Deceptos. Burned 2 of his minis and one of the big pots. Also down to just 62 builds and 2 crash pads. So a player right next to him not owning the wall, and he follows up 1, 2, 3 shots, but then he needs to back off right away because he picked up racks, but then another player was squeezing in towards the end, and this is that 4th circle kind of crunch we talk about where everyone's piling in, establishing their box on the edge of the zone, trying to pull the half in, half out, but not get eliminated and not end up being the focus of other players. That's why you see kind of these different apartment buildings kind of being segmented off towards the side, as now we swing on over to Tayson, who also has Snazy right by him, but Tayson currently throwing some great shots and in an awesome gatekeeping position.
And in a very good spot because there's no one really looking at him in that area. Now, if Zone does not pull where he wants it to, he will be in an awkward spot, but you see a shark coming through the background, hitting some players, somebody else down below just trying to stave off the pressure, the lobby spray coming through. And that's what happens when you be a little bit of a loot goblin. Is Milan going to go down, but he's not looking to get another elimination there. Someone else trying to rotate out as well. A lot of shots going down. Everybody firing, and he finds the man's literal foot there as he's getting the shot down to him, but I think that elimination is going to go over to Vidil, so Tayson not able to capitalize on the second elimination, but at least able to pick up 1.
And you can see the thought process behind Vidil right there, trying to get around, or Vidil picking up Pinky there, trying to get around and rotate the side, using kind of the water and the path that was there, but both the shots and the lobby focus, and the fact that the players already established themselves in the zone, meant the late rotate wasn't going to pay off. Now, look at the players who are all stacked on top of each other here. We're going to hop on board with Letwick, who's going to pick up Floppa Michael. We are inside the top 50, so second placement point has gone over. Now back on board with Letwick again, trying to push through and find a second Elam. It's Rifla who's going to get down. That was the match number 3 winner, so still plenty of the top players left in this one.
But they could go down if Letwick's continuing to push this advantage, but he doesn't have HP in his inventory. He's got the floppers, but no extra minis. This is not what he wanted from that loot. He was hoping for big shields, chug splashes, any more minis there, but not able to get it. Maybe wonder if Rifla was able to steal some of those away as he decides to disengage and actually ends up landing near Slick there. The Strokey down there as well. Slender, Vidil, Queasy, Tayson down there as you see them panning through. Rifla, though, in a very good spot to look at anybody crash padding into zone. As shots continuing to hit here from him is tracking beautifully through the air. Milan will fall. They're running out of AR ammo, though, so this is concerning. He's not able to pick up any of these eliminations. It's not really worth it.
Yeah, he's desperately looking for the siphon because he doesn't have a big pot to take himself over. This is the half in, half out zone, so he's just trying to keep the players from rotating in. But as you see in the bottom right-hand corner, pretty much everyone has already made it right to the edge of the circle. So once we move into zone number 6, aka the moving zones and the late game, it's all going to be about the rotation priority. This is the late game, match number 4. All of the top players are still in it, so keep an eye on that top left corner and who's taking down who, as all of them are capable of winning this game and closing out the victory route. 40 players remaining. The zone's going to close here, and we'll have the first reveal of the moving zones. You can see Rifla, Deceptos, Seventor, Steelix, Bion God, all the players directly on top of each other. Floki, Thomas HD, Vato, so many players stacked right towards this edge, and nobody has priority on the zone. Everybody is going to be forced to rotate. Look in the bottom right-hand corner. Pretty much the entire lobby is on the south side, and you have to go northwest. This is going to signal a ton of early crash pads, early launch pads, and then players who don't have that utility either looking to recycle it from opponents or just branch out right away. And here it goes. The crash pads and the launch pads are out.
Rifla choosing to just launch instead of recycle because he doesn't want to rely on that volatility that is the Fortnite lobby. You see, looking around and scouting everything that he can. He wants as much information as he can. SMG is out. We haven't seen any SMG plays here because not a lot of players are
Tu viens du
prioritizing it. An
59,
RPG is going to come through.
Oh,
Rifle
oui.
going to take a
1, 2,
lot
3
of damage, and I
Manchester
don't know
United.
if he's going to be able to get out of this one.
Je viens du
29 HP,
59,
does have
pareil.
mini shields in
Oui.
his inventory, and you see he did
Je suis
get
en
out, and he is going on the
59
aggression. He
800.
has to go forward,
Pas
and he
du
needs
tout
to realize that he's
59.
got to be careful. He also needs to see
Darail.
really needs to get elimination, challenging high ground
Moi
there, and
j'habite
now dropping down.
59 100.
MCS X Squeezy has
Ah,
just picked up a
59
huge
800.
elimination. Deceptive going down.
Je suis en
Enough also going down.
centre-ville.
X Squeezy got
Je
picked
vais
up right
prendre
before
un
that,
bain
but the two
JOURS.
top players
Ok, ça
are
fait.
now out. This is
Pas de
Rifle's
soucis. Merci
opportunity
de
to stamp
passer.
it. Hen is out as well. There's
Votre
another player who's top
cool,
6
ça
going into it.
nous a pas
All of
duré
the legends are
longtemps.
dropping, and Rifle
J'ai rien
saying it's
loupé
my
bien.
opportunity to shine. He
Non, pas
won match
gratté
number
grand
3.
chose.
Can he turn it around?
Désolé,
He
je suis
picks up
navré
Flicks as
de
well,
vous
saying
quitter,
I'm the
mais je vais
best
devoir
of us
regarder
right
le
now.
match.
I
Au
will
revoir à
prove it.
tous.
39
Tchuss,
points, top
Masashi,
25 going
merci
to
d'être passé,
another
frérot.
placement threshold, but can
Ok,
he execute from the
bye,
low
au
ground, now
revoir.
hopping up into the
Pour
mid
l'instant,
ground
mon
as we
frère
get a
m'a
look at the wide and
pas
everyone
balancé
else
aux parents,
rotating through, but back on board
car
with
ma
Rifle,
maman
already
ne
4
m'a rien dit.
eliminations and pushing to that next placement threshold at top
Oh, je suis
40
en
as
train de me
Janice
prendre la
picks
tête
up
là.
Thomas. Shrimsy also going down, another point ticking over,
J'arrive
and
plus à
that's
prendre
a
de
round
photos avec
3
mon
for Rifle.
téléphone, faut que j'envoie une photo à ma mère.
This is really good to see, but he's got to
Une
keep
photo
going.
dans
He
le
can't get
frigidaire,
stuck in the zone like
j'arrive
this.
plus à prendre de
That's
photos, j'ai
exactly
plus de
what's
place dans le
happening. He's being
téléphone.
held out, shots come through, not able to
J'essaie de
connect
faire de la
on him,
place,
and he's going to
c'est
take
la
over the zone.
misère.
41 points is what he's finished on for this game. So anybody over 41 or close is going to look to challenge. Janus on the high ground, Ludwig in the mid ground, Tace on there as well. Smudge and Stacey, Vadil, PCH, and Scrib there. That's your top, what is 11, 10 players there. As Janus is looking just to spray everybody, PCH rotating through that second high position, looking to get anything going there as Interact is hiding behind Ludwig there. We get a lot of wides coming through as Janus is trying to pressure down there, I believe, with that pistol there, or maybe an AR. Doesn't really have much to work with, it seems like, because his HP has not increased. Is Tayson going to get tagged on up? Smudge and PCH added. Scrib trying to make their rotation through. Slender on the low ground as well as Stacey. PCH is unfortunately going to fall. Interact going to be there as well. Vadil right now on your screen. 3 eliminations, looking to make it more. 9 total players remaining. Got Crashbits, got Floppers. Scrib is going to fall there. Vadil trying to rotate with the last little bits of mats that he's got, and he's got enough hard mats to make one more box, and then he's going to have to make a play as everybody making plays down below. He's just trying to hold out. He doesn't want to drop down right away. Stacey going down. Nice shot there on the Tayson. It's a mythic loot there, but he's not going to be able to pick it on up. Everybody falling. Smudge going down as well. Floppers being popped here. Does he have enough HP to pop and make it in his zone? The Floppers are going to help him. Ludwig going to go down. He was up there near the points as well. Janice maybe able to take this. The Evans, yes, solo invitational winner doing very well, but looking for deal. Just floppering in zone, trying to mini up, trying to get prepared. Slender is going to go into the zone. The Shockwave Launcher is here. Janice going to lose high ground there to Vadil. Does he have enough HP to keep it? Does he have enough mats to keep it as well? Vadil dropping down, Shockwave being used, everyone being flown. Janice is still there, shots coming through. Vadil going to miss, and unfortunately Slender going to take him down. Now in a 1v1 scenario, Janice launches himself into zone. Oh no, this is not what he wanted. He didn't want that, but shots go through. He hits a lot of damage, and now the HP is back in his favor. Slender has to make a play. Shockwaves being used, and I don't know if there's enough shockwaves left in the game to give Janus the win, but he's got the HP. He's got the shotgun shot. He's got the pressure, but can he find it? Can he find the angle that he needs? He's going to have to drop down sooner or later. The zone. We've got one more, but Slender notices that and gets the jump up dub.
Slender with the 4 eliminations in the victory royale, 25 points coming out and executing from the low ground. Janice unfortunately not able to close it out with the shockwave launcher, but a good defense coming out from Slender there. And 4 matches are down with just 2 games remaining. Who will walk away with that #1 spot in Europe? Zeke, Bala, Shio, break it down for us. Let us know what we're looking for.
There's a lot of things that we are looking for, and right now there's actually some we have yet to see, and the leaderboard is going to help uncover what it is we're missing. Because there's a shark hiding in the shadows as we are running through this race toward this finish line. Boys, first off, big congratulations to Slender. I like the victory out, and I like the defensive shot he needed to take there.
Ils n'existent pas.
Janice away.
Il y a un bruit bizarre avec ton micro. Tu te mutes.
Absolutely.
Ah, ça arrive, c'est peut-être que j'ai mon téléphone trop proche.
What is it going to look like going into the final slots over here for Europe? For the standings, in first place, is it someone new? What's it going to be? No, Rifla is still holding on to that top spot 41 points in total, now almost leading the pack right behind the deal in eliminations, has that win in case of the tiebreaker, but he is dominating game after game so consistently.
But the two players I want to highlight, because what we're talking about consistency, these guys are converting the most. Rifle has actually had a second or third zone fall, which actually pushes his average placement way out. And if that happens again, that is dangerous. Whereas Desiptos and Letwick, they've only had one game where they've fallen out of the 4 in around the top 40 area, which is actually converting on a little bit of elims, but otherwise, too, they're pushing deep into the top 10 on every game that they make it into that end game. So that is very, very crucial looking forward. I think it's going to be a duel between Desiptos and Letwick.
I mean, they are pulling away from the pack. Look at the top 3, down the top 10. You're looking at an 11-point differential. And don't forget, Flois was the first winner on the day. He got the first victory out. And we see this a lot, right? Whoever starts strong, they tend to fizzle.
Still, though, like, everyone always has this expectation that it's possible for these players in 20th place, in 30th place to bounce back up. I would usually agree, but after watching EU today, it is the same players we're seeing alive in endgame. When we say these guys just need 7 or 11 points, that means getting to the top 10. And for a lot of these guys like Steelix, Snazy, yes, they're playing well, but are they there consistently? That is the big question.
Yeah, that it will be. Bad Sniper, 21st right now. Mongrel also middling around 22nd. That's not where these guys want to be going into the final 2 games, but there's still a chance. We all know when it comes to 6-game grand finals that the final 2 games mean so much.
No matter what, these guys want to get better than anyone else around them, want to place higher. So all the way till the final game, the competition will stay high.
We gotta think, man.
Dans mon téléphone.
It's wild to think we've been doing this for like 3 weeks now, and now we get to look at the conclusion, see who will hold the Axe of Champions high, and after 2 games, we'll have a new FNCS champion. Now, guys, we were kind of talking about players, the shark in the water. And it's none other than Desiptos, who is finding himself in that 2nd place. We haven't seen him much on broadcast, so what has this guy been doing?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be a group effort here, but 100% we'll break it down in just a sec. Desiptos has basically been going, as you said, Zeke, through those shadows, right? He's been playing around other players and how, you know, kind of pop-offy they've been. They're kind of showing overall exactly what they can do and break down in front of everyone else. And while they're taking the spotlight, that's the word I was looking for, Desiptos is operating in that background. He's getting everything these players are not looking at or seeing.
Yeah, there's so much to actually consider when getting into Desiptos' game plan because, like I said, he's converting on these end games. I want to find out how. I want to find out where this man is dropping and how he's actually transitioning into the end game. Because, like I said, it's so important, but these are some of the things we miss. Him in top 10 right here, 2 eliminations, and he still makes a couple count. While some at the top, like Rifle, might be having a little bit more impact in terms of elimination, he's making it count for placement.
And this is exactly how he gets his game started. Let's actually break down what he does every single game, specifically that last one too. Landing somewhere near Lazy Lake, actually taking a back alley loop path all the way across the map, picking up so many houses that people will get to later on faster than them, and then getting into these positions, these boxes fast, where he has control and can drop down these shotgun shots in really crazy angles.
And this game right here was actually Desiptos' first game where he ended up falling after that top 50 mark, so he got the 2 placement points. But what he did do is actually fight a little earlier, grab that elim on Bad Sniper, and then has the awareness to recognize that Rax is in the box next to him. He'll convert, but after those 2 fights, that's when it gets to be a little risky for Letwick. It was last game that was an issue for him. This time, he's still going in, and he'll take down so many important ones. That was a Nas, and you know how high he was on the leaderboard.
And these guys are in the game every single time. They are taking out these big names. We alluded to these 20th place players possibly rising to the top. They have to overcome these 2 monstrous barriers.
I mean, you know, and it's just going to come down to the final 2 games here. Rifle holding strong at the top, but Desiptos, they are lurking in the waters. You've got Letwick who's on the side. Anas, who picked up the Victory Royale, is here as well to play the deal, who made it through, which, by the way, sat in the storm forever. Was eating floppers, and then is like, oh, I have to get to the storm? I got crash pads, baby, it's good. So many names are in this race right now.
Yeah, but for me, I'm going to pick Deceptos to make it through in these last 2 games. He has been playing out of his mind, and before that game where he fell after 50th place, for him it was an average placement of 9.67. So I'm going with the Frenchman. Allez les Bleus, let's go.
Allez les Bleus.
Okay, I'm going to pick a right
Il dit allez les Bleus, le
up
mec.
top. I feel like being in first is a big deal, and he can
Qu'est-ce
hold
qu'il parle
on,
des
stop
Français, lui,
these 2
frère?
men, no matter where they're from taking that top spot.
All right, I'm going to the deal because he has style points and I like style.
Ah,
Guys, with that being said, we're getting ready to head into the next game. Game number 5 here in EU. Sundown Clay, let's throw it your way.
Ça, c'est 50 trucs pour que ça marche là-dedans.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And with just 2 games left to go, it is tightly contested at the top of the leaderboard. You see Rifle currently holding a 4-point lead just over Deceptos and Letwick, but plenty of people within striking distance still. We've seen time and time again those victory royales worth right around 19 and 20 points, so anybody can make a play. But Clay, if you're going to make that play, it has to be right now.
You cannot wait any longer. This is it. These are the final moments. There is one more game, but there's not enough points on the lobby for you to make that play if you wait to the final moment. So you need at least 2 games to write the miracle run, the miracle story. And we've seen a lot of players that happen. Noah Riley trying to make his run up the top of the leaderboard as well. Rifle, though, is relatively uncontested other than the people there. But with the way Frenzy's built, you can be contested and never see your opponent.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities for you to break sight lines, get through. You see Llama tagged up. Llama 210 over there. Chat calling it out. Everyone, there's plenty of opportunities to get through. A Rifle is going to be super thankful for that. The Llama coming through is such a big influx of not only materials, but in-game items that really enable you to go through, especially getting that launch pad. But now you can see engagement going on over here with Supremacy's Floki and Flecken. Who will be the better at
désolé pour l'attente, tout le monde.
Question will be resolved quickly as the crash pad ends
Fallait
up
que je fasse
coming
2
through.
photos d'un frigo pour ma mère, une copine à elle.
As I say that, Floki hits 2 back to back. He says,
Enfin,
thanks for the
elle
loot.
pourra y
We'll
envoyer
take
la
that epic
photo.
pack, the shotgun and everything else that comes with it. The crash pads, the shields, all the metal over here on the side, and he's going to be very happy about it.
And the guaranteed launch pad that comes out of the rig's vault area. That is a very, very big pickup for Floki. And again, and that range where they could make something happen. Now we do have a replay here of what happened at Caddy Corner with Thomas HD. Running away is going to get tagged up out. I actually have 1 build left, but you can't build right there. And unfortunately falling early.
Vestakira taking down what was the 7th ranked player there. So what you care about right now as a viewer, we're keeping an eye on that top left-hand corner. Who in the top 10 is falling and who can remain and keep picking up points, because that's going to set up the story for what the final game is and who's going to have an opportunity. But right now, Bad Sniper needs to be careful. First AR shots come out right away from the bush. Wookie trying to set up an ambush, and Bad Sniper going to cover himself up and immediately start burning through that utility because he doesn't want to get pressured down.
He's got to be careful. There's players near high as well. He's got to get out. And this is Kiriachi. This is kind of what we expect from him at this point, just going aggressive and going into boxes where he definitely doesn't have the advantage, but his aim is going to be the advantage there for him. He does hit those 4 there, but not able to keep tracking that sniper there. The third party comes in, but he's not phased. Shot comes through, and he does end up hitting it. The crash pad going to be used. That player going to get in the box and going aggressive. Bad Sniper, though. He's actually going to pick it up. What a turnaround.
Great job from Bad Sniper executing and finishing that one out under pressure. He needed that to stay in the running and to stay in contention just outside the top 15 right before that, but hopefully
les filles sont des... D'accord, ok. Pourquoi toutes les filles me trompent? Ce sont des... Ok, ça dégage direct, un mec comme ça, tu vois.
In contrast, however,
Masquer l'utilisateur de ces chaînes à vie.
That doesn't really work there, but Deceptos on fire right now. 37 points. Is in second place, however. His lead did get snatched away from him there. but he does have the tools to do it.
C'est qui les trois gars? Il y avait un gars là, mais j'ai supprimé son message. Il y avait un pseudo très bizarre. Coucou, désolé pour le retard. Avez-vous le lien? Je t'envoie ça, Warzy. Je t'envoie ça en chat. Je sais pas s'il est encore là, on va quand même l'envoyer. Est-ce que des fois tu aimerais être une fille? Non, pas trop. Non. Je sais pas. Merci bien, BG. De rien, Warzy. C'est fait pour, frérot. Non, mais il y avait trois gars sur Fortnite à l'écran. Ah merde, je t'aime pas là, je suis en train de me prendre la tête pour prendre une photo, quoi, pour dire la tristesse, quoi. En fait, j'avais juste un truc où il fallait que j'efface les caches. Et moi, depuis tout à l'heure, j'ai tout effacé. Tout ce que je pouvais effacer sur le téléphone, j'ai effacé. Comme un con. Pourquoi c'est bien d'être une fille? Je sais pas. À toi de nous dire. On n'est pas des filles, on sait pas.
Definitely will need them with Storm Surge. We won't see it as much in these later games as we saw Kiriachi getting more aggressive, turning more to that Kiriachi that we've seen time and time and again. And other players are going to start to do that as well. They need that pop-off.
Là, t'es en train de me dire que t'aimes pas les filles.
That's what they're doing. But we've got another replay here from Lewick's perspective.
J'aime pas les hommes, j'aime les femmes. Non, il s'est fait tuer par un bot, mais non. Les mecs, ils doivent péter les plombs, ceux qui se font tuer par des bots. Tu te fais tuer par des bots en plein tournoi, voilà. Tu te fais tuer par des bots en pleine compète, tu dois adorer.
To last match, so if you're gonna get going, you have to move now. With top 75 ticking over, that's 1 point for everyone left in the lobby. You get a placement point for outlasting the first 25 players, then you get a placement point for outlasting the next 25 players, so that's top 50, and then after every top 10 until you get to the top 25, and then it's every 5 players until you're into the top 3. So right now, Hen, just trying to settle himself up, make sure he has plenty of materials.
Il y a combien dans le match? J'ai même pas regardé depuis tout à l'heure le match, il y a combien?
Very far south on the zone, so if zone number 2 does go northward, it can be a little difficult. However, he's looking just potentially.
Il y a un, d'accord, wow. J'ai même pas vu le match depuis tout à l'heure. En fait, il y a un 1-1.
That's a lot of points, especially with the low amount of eliminations that we've seen Head get. Not really one to be up there in the average elimination category, but he's got it. Number 3 went down, number 7 went down. And in this place coming into this game has got an opportunity to really
je voyais pas son pseudo ni son commentaire, c'était quoi? C'était un pseudo pas pour les jeunes. Un pseudo très bizarre. Un pseudo que les jeunes ne devraient pas voir. Du coup, heureusement que YouTube, ça l'a bloqué, tu vois. Sinon, t'aurais mis son pseudo. Oh, bois! Ah, c'est mon boiseur! Ah, boiseur! Ah, frère! Ah, bois! T'as le floss aussi? T'as le floss, frérot? Oh, frérot de skin! Oh, frérot de skin! Tu veux pas me taper dans la main? Attends, c'est où le truc pour se taper dans la main, là? Ah, c'est là. Eh, hey, bois! Ah non, tu veux pas me taper dans la main? Ah, ouais. Ah non, c'est celui-là, c'est pas ça. Ah, c'est celui-là, non. Ouais, laisse tomber, il y en a trop.
Waves Cartoon taking out Energy's Benji Fishy, the fan favorite, the World Cup qualifier, arguably one of the most consistent players in EU, but he struggled time.
Arrête de pleurer, tape-moi dans la main.
FNCS situations.
Hey bro, hey brother.
With MMB where they
C'est mon frère.
over and over again. Today, but right now,
C'est mon frère de
number
skin.
one player Rifle under all the pressure in the world and only his 2 minutes to get himself back up and scram is not letting him feel up at all, not relenting, trying to pressure down and give everyone else a chance to catch up.
Rifle's got to make a play here. Scram is 200 HP as Rifle can crash pad it in. The box goes through. He's not going to be able to crash pad out, and number one is out of the game. That's really good for Deceptos, who currently in second place right now.
À un moment, il a dit allez les bleus ou j'ai rêvé là. À un moment, ils ont dit allez les bleus. Il faudra peut-être que vous montiez les Français avant de dire allez les bleus. Il va me sortir, c'est pas de ton âge. Tout à fait. Voilà, c'est sûr. Ah bah là, oui, c'est pas de ton âge. Je vais voir des trucs comme ça. Surtout le pseudo, c'est pas du tout ton âge. Un pseudo comme ça. C'est bon, tu peux partir maintenant. C'est bon, c'est bon. T'as le droit de te barrer maintenant. C'est bon. Et maintenant, il va rester devant l'écran là. Bien.
Display of skill there from
ah là là, le cancéreux.
Says, you know what, all is fair in love and war. I'm taking you down.
C'est bon, t'as
assez. Reminder, there's $800,000 on the line here today. One elimination could separate you from a certain placement threshold on that overall leaderboard, and that could be the difference between big amount of money. So no one wants to go out just sitting there not thinking engagement or having to think about that one elimination would have put me there.
Parce que t'es trop jeune pour savoir des pseudos comme ça.
First place, third place, seventh place are all out of the game.
C'est pas de ma faute si le mec il a un pseudo chelou.
There's still a chance for him to be challenged, but this is great for Deceptos because if he can just make it to a top 5, he's already going to eclipse the points
de quoi un mec qui avait un pseudo très bizarre. Un pseudo qui est pas trop pour les jeunes, tu.
And then he's editing the cone in the top. What that allows you to do, as opposed to other structures, you can see out the top of that cone. You can kind of scout out the information around you. He's trying to figure out where the priority is, and once the zone does reveal, he's going to move a little bit more inland from that outside. He knows he doesn't want to be right on the edge, but he also doesn't want to move too far center, as he wants to set himself up for that 4th and 5th zone positioning. As now we're going to swing on over the farm.
C'est pas de ma faute s'il y en a qui ont des pseudos de fou. Il y en a qui ont vraiment des pseudos. Je sais même pas comment ça se fait que YouTube il les banne pas les pseudos comme ça. Il devrait être banni d'entrée avec des pseudos comme ça, tu vois, sur YouTube, mais je sais pas, il les banne pas. C'est bizarre. Quoi? Yo, de Galaxy. De Galaxy. Ok. Ton sac il est dans la boutique. Ouais, c'est ce que... Malheureusement, ils l'ont remis dans la boutique. Le meilleur sac à dos. Ce sac à dos, il va avec tous les skins. Tu mets avec n'importe quel skin, ça passe. Mais bouge de là, le Galaxy, il fait quoi là? Ça y est, il a cru qu'on était frérot, là, ça y est. Il a cru que c'était mon frère maintenant. T'as cru que t'étais ma sœur ou quoi? Ça y est, t'as le même skin, t'en peux plus, frère. Il a le même skin, il se met devant l'écran maintenant. C'est bon, bouge. Oui, on a le même skin, il est content, il va bouger.
Particularly in close quarters, you have so many options available to you. And that Mythic Shark Shotgun hits so hard, and it's Lecce who he hits so hard. 12 HP being the difference, and then immediately boxes, edits himself up, and he's going to pop those shields, get the med kit off, and try and defend. But no, only 1 minute.
Le skin foot, il revient quand? À la finale de la Ligue des Champions. Finale de la Ligue des Champions, ils vont le remettre, je crois. Bah ça y est, ils viennent tous là maintenant. Oh là 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 là. C'est pas vrai, des cancers pareils, frère.
hopefully able to continue his
Ah, je suis bien calé avec là-bas, quoi.
Now we're on board here with Rezon. Same kind of
Ah,
situation.
là-bas, j'étais bien calé.
Là,
maintenant, je suis devant l'écran.
Oh, crash pad in the top. Will he get in? No, the cone's going to prevent it, but he's all the way in. He doesn't care. This player being a little bit too careful with their builds, and they wanted that drop, and they're not going to be able to get it. Is Rezon going to get the drop on them as they're continuing the crash pad? Crash pad in, trying to get the player out, and shots go through, and PCH going to go down.
Oh, j'étais trop bien calé là-bas, là, qui vient là-bas.
Really good job from Reason there to hound that fight out.
Allez, bouge de là, Ah, vas-y, mais il y a l'autre. Non, mais sérieux. C'est quoi ces cancéreux de merde? Allez, les gars, je vais faire casser les couilles. Ils ont rien à faire de leur vie, là. C'est la première fois qu'ils voient un skin Galaxy. Putain, mais c'est... Première fois qu'ils voient un skin Galaxy de sa vie, frère. Vas-y, c'est bon, bouge ta mère un peu, non? Oh là là, cancer comme ça, c'est grave. Oh là, ça fait bizarre. Hein. Vas-y, non mais le mec, il a pas, t'as pas de vie, frère. T'as pas une vie, quoi, non? Écoute, il oublie. Il y en a, ils ont vraiment rien à... Non, lui, je crois qu'il a rien à faire de sa vie. Hein. Petit bac ta mère aussi.
And so unfortunately, he's got a lot of players this area. He's trying to set up an ambush, but nobody is going to fall.
Ouais, bon, lui, je crois qu'il a vraiment pas de vie, frère. Lui, il a zéro life, frère. Le mec, il a rien à faire de sa vie, il veut casser les couilles aux gens.
Because Kane's going to sit in the cone, he's got to realize that, and he does. He puts the ramp, he knows immediately. But that cone in the middle of all these builds is a little bit fishy.
A little bit fishy. You can also tell as soon as it enters that edit state, it's no longer that fully built. If you see a non-fully built cone, you have to be wary. That player trying to catch an advantage of Hen, and Hen says, "Jokes on you. Welcome to the chicken coop. I'm the boss here. Takes him down. No problem closing in on that second placement threshold."
Une game de cancer ou c'est comment? Ah, d'accord. C'est cancéreux, frère. C'est quand la finale? Dimanche prochain, je crois. Et c'est quand? Et c'est à quel âge que tu me diras des mots que j'ai le droit de savoir à 12 ans? Quand t'auras 18 ans. En 2010 encore. Change de skin. Ouf. À 2 ans près. Il y a des gros joueurs qui jouent. Ouais, j'ai vu à mon Graal. Normalement, il y avait Kingstar et tout, mais ils montrent que les Anglais, tu vois, ils montrent pas les Français. Tu vois. Normalement, il y avait Kingstar, je crois. Je l'ai pas encore vu, Kingstar. J'ai juste vu mon Graal. Et celle que je connaissais, c'était mon Graal. Ah, mais c'est à bouger, les cancéreux, là! Putain, mais ils ont quoi, les mecs? Ils ont... Oh là là, des mecs qui n'ont rien à faire de leur vie, là.
But he can kind of be taken advantage of when you go back on him, and that's what we've seen time and time again, and that's kind of what European solos is about. Like, yes, you can be good when you have all the tempo, but pretty much every other one of these players is good at playing high tempo. As Reason identifying the fact that that fight had been resolved, immediately crash pads over, and he's able to pick that one up. Now he has 3 players worth of loot over on the side with priority on zone. He's going to be
dans 6 ans. Grave.
Take advantage of the fact that 3 of the players in the top 7 have already fallen.
Pas avant 6 ans, c'est pas longtemps. Ah bah ça, oui. Tu peux pas dire des trucs comme ça à des jeunes, des pseudos comme ça, tu vois. T'es trop jeune pour avoir des pseudos comme ça. YouTube, il devrait même les ban direct, ces pseudos-là, tu vois.
And he finds a good path to zone as well. This was very, very clutch in getting into this end game, because had he not found that, he would have been very, very, very much in shambles. As Rezon nearby, Mawaka there as well, as we get Nebby, Arion Carton there on your screen, Mr. X as well, advises there. A Savage now in this end game as well, 17 points, so he needs 2 back-to-back perfect games to get to that top.
Ah, il y a Monsieur Sauvage, il est connu aussi, non? Monsieur Savage, il est connu, non? Monsieur Savage, ça me dit quelque chose.
The peppers in play. When you eat those peppers, you get a huge move speed boost, and it lasts for a minute. So when you get in these late game circles, it gives you a lot more options, and a little bit more versatility when you're in these fights. And right now, Savage doesn't have one activated, but using that crash test dummy, hoping to avoid an explosion right here and potentially be the one to cause a little bit of demolition derby. Gonna drop in the box, finds the first shot, finds the second, can't quite convert right now. 5 HP, and he gets taken down.
Monsieur Savage, c'est un youtubeur, non?
Going to be on the outside looking in when it comes to contesting.
Je crois que c'est un youtubeur, lui aussi.
Both him and Benji, two of the fan favorites, effectively eliminated from that Axe of Champions competition. But want to know who's not? E11 Tayson up on the high ground right now, just raining shots down in that full built metal base, and then using the ramps around the side to cut off any.
Mais regarde la zone, 42 personnes dans la zone. Regarde le nombre de personnes qu'il y a dans la zone, frère. Oh. 40 personnes dans une zone comme ça, frère. Non, bah là, mon gars, c'est tombé, toi. L'impression d'être en arène champion. Quand t'es en champion arène, c'est tombé, c'est pareil. Ça juste arrive.
Now looking for elimination number 5, not going to be able to get it. He's got a good amount of mats as well. 2 crash pads remaining in the inventory. So he can make it into zone number 7 and 8. It is a pulls away from him. He's going to look for any eliminations that he can, but he decides, you know what, I'm going to get ahead of zones, then look back, because that is the best way to find these eliminations, as players are not paying attention to the head of zone.
And you can see top 25 taking over.
25 personnes dans la mini-zone.
But Tayson, the winner of Heat 2, trying to push forward and cement his spot. He is now tied. Who is the leader?
Oh, il est mort là, frère.
This is his opportunity to take
un
the
bug.
front spot. And notice what he's doing so well is he's tarping out and he's using the full builds and he's staying towards the front part of the zone, and then he doubles back right here looking for picks. This is something when you have execution, you have space, no one else is on your level, you turn eliminations in by doing this, because he knows he's safe and he can continue moving on a horizontal level while also harassing his opponents. Top 20 ticks over now. Tayson going to continue contributing there. 43 points for the E11 player.
And he goes into zone to crash play because he wanted to be safe doing it, did not want to risk it. He's got the flop.
Ils enchaînent les mecs.
Effectively null. He's back up to 200 effective HP, but 18 players remaining. He's going to have to make a play, and he's already looking for high ground. He's second high right now, but the drop down going to ensue. He's going to fall there to Milan. Shots going through. Tayson getting challenged, but he's going to get an elimination there. Again, now on 6 eliminations, Bayon going to go down, flop for Michael. Going to fall as well.
Ouais, moi aussi, ouais. C'est un peu casse-couille, t'es obligé de rester appuyé sur rond pendant 15-20 secondes. À chaque fois, rester appuyé 20 secondes. Ouais, je sais pas, j'ai tout le temps eu. Ils m'ont jamais enlevé. Box fight! 9 kills, lui. 9 kills en pleine compète, frère.
I can cement this number 1 spot. I can take away the game. I can make you chase me in game number 6. As he goes in for top 3, and he's still hunting. He has that mythic charge shotgun. I'm not just a shockwave player. 11 eliminations. 2 of the players go down.
Il en a en plus.
Arguably the strongest solo player, wire to wire, against what is the strongest solo player on the day right now. E11's Tayson up on the high ground, Reason on the low ground, and that little bit of Old Man Mountain. He doesn't have to be too large, but it's going to burn Reason through the last of his resources. He's standing out there spraying, no builds left, and Tayson converts, and he does so in a monstrous way.
12 kills, mon frère, il a le record de la soirée, quoi.
That's 26 points.
Il a le record de kills de la compétition.
What?
What an insane performance from
C'est insane.
The lead has been blown out of the water, and now it's just going to be about who can play catch up. Can Rifle do it? Can Deceptos do it? Or will Tayson take game number 6 as well?
Je sais pas ce qui serait cap de faire.
My goodness. Tayson, While we're all sitting here running this marathon, this short baby sprint, he's sitting there, letting everyone just take off, get that lead. He's like, oh my gosh, no way, everyone's here. They're already ahead of me. Saves enough in the tank to get the victory royale and the biggest comeback he needed. Ball, what is going on?
Tu vas taper 12 kills à la fin. 12 kills à la fin, ça l'a choqué.
Making all these quick decisions. There wasn't a time in there where he paused, where he took a second to breathe. He didn't stop at all. Foot on the gas, and he takes it all the way up to the top.
À l'écran, c'est les mecs qui présentent.
I feel like
Ceux qui parlent pendant le tournoi.
And a separate person on his mouse because he was playing movement and aim perfectly, Tayson, and that's why I'm going to say he's 100% first place right now, holding stuff off from everyone else. The question is completely right, though. Who can catch up to him? Because he's a pack leader by so many points. Oh my goodness.
21 kills.
And there was definitely some instances where this opportunity arose. We always think of EU, the winners, ending up coming out in the last two games, but something else also interesting is that Tayson won Heat 2. And if you think back to FNCS duos and FNCS squads, both of the winners of Heat 2 in squads, it was Red Rush, Drobbin, Snappy, and Wakey. In duos, it was Andalex and Nate who ended up taking that X of Champions. Now, all of a sudden, it looks like it might happen again.
It's his destiny. It's Tayson's destiny to win this entire tournament, this entire region, and it's been decreed. The question is, can anyone flip the story, flip the switch? Rifle, Deceptos, Hen, Reason, it's their last game to have a stand, have a say in it. XP's Thomas, I mean, if Tayson can do it, if he can be at this spot, 20th place, 30th place, and shoot all the way up, any of these guys could too.
And they all have the capability. Again, we talk about this quality factor. These guys have made it. They've walked through the gauntlet. They have what it takes to cement that win. They just have to make it happen. One game left. We thought it's all, you know, Rifle is at the top. There's no way. And suddenly Tayson said, no, everyone stand aside. My time is right here, right now. And that's what these guys need to do.
And don't forget, in the Invitational, it was Janice, Tayson's dual partner, but all of a sudden it seems like the skills of transfer has not stopped this weekend. He stands above and beyond the rest of the 16 points. If you look at that top leaderboard, there's a big question, right? Because we were saying, oh, it's Deceptos, oh, it's Rifle, oh, these guys, Latwick has an opportunity, but I talked about conversion last time you guys saw me, and all of a sudden, those guys fell. They dropped like flies. Absolutely every single one of them ended up dropping and gave Tayson and so many others the opportunity. It feels like Tayson and strangled all the opportunity from everybody else.
J'ai pas son numéro.
That's how it goes sometimes, man. We keep talking about it. Those guys have to hold on. If they can't, this will happen.
Julien, copain.
Yeah, I'm going to give you my natural reactions to what I thought this game would look like. Wow, I'm so hyped and ready for you to be playing this out, to get all the way back up to first. Here we go. He gets taken out. Past that, it's fine. We have more predictions in the top 5, right?
Il n'y a pas de français ou quoi?
He's at authority. He has the power and control.
Isma, il n'y a pas de français ici. J'ai vu aucun français, moi. Je sais pas. Je suis aveugle.
He works in the authority again since the Invitational, and he stops Letwick's reign up there, but Rifle had nothing in the tank there against Scram. There was a big shift in player behavior in this game and how they were playing so aggressive. The only guy out of that top 5 who made it towards the end was the Deceptos, but a huge shot from Waka out of a peak box to make it count.
And if these jumbo jets of players are not there to rule the skies towards this endgame, it's Tayson that takes that flight plan, takes Sword all the way, into this game and holds down things. Starting off a little bit slow, gets 1 or 2 into the endgame, but then you saw what happened when the zone started to close down. You saw how proficient he was with every decision that he made.
And when you talk about proficiency, how he didn't stop at all in this game, it's because of this new season, because the crash pads actually activate people in mobility to get this far in the game and then do things like this. Tayson finding the moments where players are going to drop in to old bases for where he could find elims, and then again, decisive, dropping down, gets another one, and he does not stop.
Every shot he took was still from cover looking out towards the open, so it was literally perfect. There was nothing wrong with what he was doing at all.
Not at all, and even when players start to get aggressive on him, he will respond in kind. He only has a charged shotgun and a burst AR, but he makes it work even close range. And then it's just follow up. Down below, another peek box. He finds another. This is it. Look at this shot. The flick jump onto the player on height, the biggest threat, and Tayson takes him out so fast with a quick build, and boom.
Il a fait trop du sol.
He actually lands the shot, lands the
Il a
landing,
tous
and
buté à la
then
fin.
gets hyped with another back-to-back past that. The left peak,
Genre, il l'a
followed by the
buté
right
d'ici,
one as
quoi.
well. Friesen had no idea what he was up against, and Tayson was on
Ouais, tu veux
fire
voir
with
des
so
gars
much
dessus.
hot momentum. What a performance.
If you blinked, you missed it. Because I don't know where the shockwave launcher went, but he still had Kit's charge, and that's apparently all you need if you're Tayson. I'm getting scared for everybody. 16 points, but also, if he does what we saw in Heat 2, which is back-to-back wins, all of a sudden, this might be over and done with.
Depuis que je suis toute petite.
I'm reading my notes here. I think I'm seeing there's a new mythic player on the map, and if he's in the end game, if he's not right, this man is winning. So watch out for Tayson in Game 6.
The tone has shifted. Can Tayson hold down that #1 spot, or will someone step up and try to dethrone him? Let's get ready to get into the last game here in EU. Sundown, Clay, take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
C'est la dernière, là, non? C'est la dernière manche.
Possible matches in each weekend, 80 possible during the course of the qualifiers, then the 6 in the heats, then 5 in the grand finals. We have 1 match remaining in the tail of the tape is E11's Tayson taking out his former duo partner in Steamy Stacks for the first of 12 eliminations to secure the victory royale in a 16-point lead coming into the final match. Clay, can anybody catch him, or is it a wrap?
Je ne veux pas mentir que je l'ai.
If somebody here in Steamy decides that they want to push and get this elimination, there's somebody nearby.
Elle n'a rien fait de grave. Non. Elle était partie, elle était pas sur le... Elle était partie, je sais plus. Je sais pas, elle était partie prendre un bain, je sais plus.
We saw last game, Tayson took down Janice. He did not care.
T'as 350 abos. Ouais.
I said, you know what? Nah, this game I'm gonna go on my own little screen.
Je regarde.
My own destiny.
And that's what it's all about. We talked about it. There's no love lost. It's a solo competition. There is one active champion.
On n'a pris aucun abonné sur ce live.
Currently chasing Tayson for, you can see Benji picking up an Elim in the feed there. So who besides E11's Tayson is currently in the run?
Elle a pris un bain. Ah ouais, c'était bien.
Place at 42 points, needs 16 to close it.
Ah, du coup, elle était pas là-dessus.
Septos at 41, Hen at 40, Reason at 40, Badil at 38, Snazy at 38, and then we'll keep Letwick in the conversation as well at 37, that's 21 points back. So that's 7 eliminations plus the victory royale.
Il pouvait pas se caler ailleurs, lui.
And it sounds like a lot because
Je mets devant toi, mon frère, ça va te faire bouger, je pense. Non, hop. Je vais se mettre devant mon écran, je me mets devant lui comme ça, il va bouger. Hop.
Into that top 25, into the top 15, top 10 placement points, then your chances are very, very, very slim of toppling him.
Yeah, the longer he stays in the game, the more that delta closes, and now we're going to swing back on board here. And Us potentially looking to set up a nice little door ambush.
Celui-là, il se barre.
The reason players will hang out by doors is because a lot of players will either interact with doors right away or have auto-interact set. What that means is when they walk up and they open the door, they're unable to take any other action.
Toujours un petit cancer qui arrive.
That animation. If a player walks in right on the other side of the door, this is a NOS looking to manufacture an elimination, and Bitfox might be the one on the other side of it.
He is setting the trap, and the cheese. You gotta wonder how tasty it'll be here for Bitfox. He's falling for it. He's walking right into Nos. Is gonna get the shot. The trap has been sprung. Bitfox down to 23 HP, and Nos really needs this elimination if he wants to contest it. Bitfox trying to stay out and run away, but Anas can pick that one up.
That's so good. We talked about it last game. We talked about doing everything possible in your power to set it up to be successful, to manufacture these points when you need to climb that grind and get up and catch somebody like Tayson, where every single point matters. We can see some early shots coming out here. Can he potentially find the tags, convert it into elimination? Looking at the bottom right-hand corner, nobody's really threatening even remotely close to him right now.
T'as encore le temps.
Indeed, and this is what you want if you want to get that first place. He's just gonna get gifted in elimination.
Genre la balle qu'il a mis. Oh, mais non, la balle qu'il a mis, c'est
every single point pushing him that much farther up, and it reminds me so much of Booga during the Solo World Cup.
Il a mis une mini balle, celle-là.
There in the final game, was able to pick up an elim, and he just laughed to himself. Tayson, gotta be
c'est lui qui a fait top 1 à 12 kills.
Hit him with that hee-haw emote.
Il a fait un top 1 à 12 kills à la partie d'avant.
Has to say after throwing one singular AR bullet, but you saw him look.
Ouais, c'est bugué là.
And that's what makes the best player in Europe.
Des bugs de son, quoi.
And we also need to point out, yes, this is for first place as well. That is the goal everyone is playing. But everybody's going to get money for just coming here and making it here today. These are some of the best, if not the 100 best solo players in the European region. Sometimes I said it, this is the most played in, most competitive.
J'aime bien l'appeler Benji. Voilà, c'est quoi ce bug là, mon copain? Le stream il est pété là. Oh non, c'est bug. On va le finir à la pioche, mais non. Oh non, non. Ah, c'est bug sec.
That's just a reminder again. This is the top 0.001% of players. This is of the absolute best. And they're competing against
un jour il vient sur le live épinglé, Benji, il aime pas. Si un jour je le vois, un jour il vient sur le live.
Who we've seen a number of times more than capable of taking these fights, so it should
non, c'est bête.
be a good little battle right here, but Wolfie's continuing trying to play the aggressor. We talk about his rough day, only 8 points after 5 games, and doesn't want to be sent out here, wants to have at least some form of a stamp on this game, even if it is just as a spoiler, but with 5 HP, the young lord from the UK will bow out of the competition at just 8 points coming over.
Ça se fait pas. Tu m'étonnes. Ça se fait. Ops. Ah, ça bug à marre.
Really good at pushing that left stick.
Le stream il est pété, leur stream. Leur stream est complètement pété. Oh, la pioche à Axel! Non, il a la pioche à Axel préférée. Mais non, il a volé la pioche à Axel. Oh, il a carotte la pioche à Axel. Mais non, Axel. Oh là là, le boulot, Axel, il va le tuer. Il a piqué la pioche à Axel préférée.
Especially because we saw Tayson early on grab whatever loot and mats he can. Will be falling over. 4 more players going down, so a little bit quicker of a pace here. As you can tell, everyone trying to push it a little bit past that next player, maybe get a pay up. Past that next player, maybe get a pay upgrade. And if you're hanging out for the first time watching us in Party Royale, and you're not necessarily used to competitive Fortnite, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You might be wondering, hey, how do I get involved with this? How do I play in these matches? How did these players get here? Well, the first step is to go in and play in the arena. That is where you'll be able to earn hype, which is where you're gauged and then placed into different levels of play. Contender, and then you're up into champion.
Et il m'a volé ma pioche. Je vais m'énerver. Thomas, le joueur français Thomas. Thomas, il a volé la pioche à Thomas. Il a volé la pioche à Axel, Thomas. Thomas HD, le français. Je pense que c'est un français, Thomas HD.
After these heats, which were played on Friday and Saturday, you get the grand final. So again, all 1%
Thomas
of these players
HD.
have done it all.
Thomas HD, le joueur français.
74 left, so 1 point going down to everyone, and that includes
le joueur français de Fortnite.
It also includes Rifla as well as Reese on there. Thomas HD picking it up. Janice nearby as well. Thomas has got to be very careful here. If he is being a little bit too greedy, farming up a little bit too much too soon, he could start to go down as Janice is going to look to take him down. They're just not building there for him as he does take a lot of damage. 62 HP. He does have the RPG in his inventory, so he could turn that around. He gets the opportunity to, but he's got to be careful. RPG out. It's going to hit the tree, but it doesn't
genre lance-roquette. Non, le joueur français, qu'est-ce qu'il fait? Le joueur français, c'est pas le moment pour lui de mourir. Oh non, le joueur français est mort. Non, pas le joueur français quand même. Non, pas le joueur français. On a perdu le joueur français, les gars. Dommage des le joueur français. On l'a perdu.
As his FNCS is over, he's just hoping he can hold on to whatever spot in the top 20 as he's going to drop down from where he is right now after only picking up a single point there. But now back on board with Flowis, who has that hunting rifle out. He's looking to catch a cheeky headshot here right around the corner.
Comment il marche le genou.
So close. He's waiting for the opportunity to get it, taking his time, and he does it. It's a body shot, not a headshot. Unfortunately, that will give him the pressure, though, that he needs to do. He's got the crash pad, set it up into the box. He goes with that player new, and the diagonal box out going to come through, and Flowis not able to capitalize on that elimination. He was so sneaky when it mattered the most, but unfortunately, only the body shot coming through from him. But he gets tagged up by a third party, and now the headshot, or the body shot, rather, is going to push him. It's going to be Kylix going aggressive, and Kylix needs elimination as well. Move into the upper echelon of prizing, and Flowis is just looking to try to make a run here. Flowis 23 HP, ticking down. Flashback comes through, and Kylix is going to come out on top.
Il s'est pris un de ses grands karma. Il s'est pris un karma dans la gueule. Ce soir, faucheuse ressort Fortnite l'a dit. Je les ai appelés tout à l'heure. MDR. MDR, frérot. Tu sais très bien qu'elle ressortira plus, cette pioche-là, frérot. Je te l'ai déjà dit. Elle ressortira plus jamais. Il y a eu trop d'embrouilles. Il vaut mieux que tu gardes ta pioche. Bah, elle est là, ta pioche. Tu la vois, ta pioche, là? Voilà, tu vois. Il vaut mieux que tu gardes cette pioche-là, tu vois. La pioche étoilée, là. C'est mieux pour toi, cette pioche.
It looks that way indeed, but he's set up in a very awkward spot. He's got a player out in the zone. He's also got two players on the mountain behind him. As Janice picking up another elimination there onto Sapphic. Payson, though, is the story of the day. Can he hold the lead? The largest lead we've seen in between first and second.
Quelle pioche. La faucheuse. La baguette étoilée à Axel. Axel, conseil, si tu veux savoir si t'aimes, tu me demandes, je peux mettre ma tête sur toi, regarde comme moi avec la Axel, il va être sous choc. La faucheuse vient la ressortir à Louis, jamais de la vie, frère. Ils la ressortiront plus. Il y a eu apparemment plus d'1 million de personnes qui ont été devant chez Epic Games quand ils l'ont ressorti l'autre jour. Donc t'imagines pas le bordel, tu vois. 1 million de personnes qui voulaient leur casser la gueule parce qu'ils ont ressorti la faucheuse, donc je pense pas qu'ils vont la ressortir. Ils ont failli mourir à cause d'une sortie de pioche. Du coup, tu vois ce que je veux dire. S'ils la ressortent, il y aura 5 millions de personnes devant Epic Games. Ils ont pas trop envie de prendre ce risque-là, tu vois ce que je veux dire. Juste pour une pioche qui... voilà, tu vois. Ils veulent pas mourir pour une pioche dans la boutique. In the final moment, will we see some similar heroics for somebody to charge up the leaderboard and push themselves in the top 5? Du coup, ils se disent, bon, on va pas la ressortir, on va pas se faire tuer pour une pioche, tu vois. Il faut les comprendre, les petits gars.
on, the more likely he is to raise that axe at the end.
And just a reminder, every place past 6th place is an increase of $10,000. So if you are a Slicks, if you are Rifla, if you are Deceptos, that's what you're looking for. Kylix is trying to get up in there as well, up until that gap in between first and second, where it's about a $25,000 increase. There's still a lot of money on the line looking for these players to grab, and I'm very concerned right now. Kylix, with this hunting rifle, is shooting shots over to Tayson. This is not looking good. If Tayson does not get out of the situation, Kylix will get the snipe onto him, and the pressure is coming through. But will Kylix hit it? Will he hit the shot that will end? Tayson's running. Shots are coming through. 129 effective HP. A very bad spot. Everybody knows he just got tagged up as well. Will he be WQ'd by Kylix here? The pressure come through, and Kylix is going in. The crash pad going to be used, but Kylix is very low HP. 66 HP there. Tayson may be too aggressive here. He's got the hunting rifle. He could go for a little snipe there. If he does, it would need to be perfect. He's going to look for it. He's going to look for it. He takes him down. Tayson is down to 60 points.
Tayson smelt blood in the water with Kylix pinned against the outside of the zone, but Kylix says, let's open up the floodgates. Let's give the opportunity for somebody to have that heroic moment. Number 1 is down. I repeat, number 1 is down. E11's Tayson has been taken out at 60 points. That's the line we're looking at. Can anybody possibly catch him? Who's in the conversation? He's going to take the victory royale and much, much more. But all of a sudden, this game has so much more tension on it. The victory lap has been canceled early. He pulled up, and now can anybody else close that gap? Enos doing his best right there, picking up an elimination, but he has a long rotation to go before he gets into the zone.
And Cardin and Kazakh are not going to let him get there easy. They're not going to let an easy rotate come out. So he does have crash pads and launch pads there. What's concerning for Enos is the amount of AR in his inventory. Now, if he knows that Tayson just went down, if the feed showed it, and he doesn't have that anonymous mode on, Enos is going to be very, very, very hungry for placement. He's just going to look and try to set up in a good spot, but right on the edge of the zone, there's players looking for you. You see the quick edit. That's there. Going to protect him for a little bit, but he's running out of hard match. You see the wood being built there. He's got to be careful. Cardin setting up nearby as well. Question is Rifla still in a good spot to contend as well? There's so many players that are on the cusp of taking this game away. Tayson is going to be so close.
But don't forget, the line is 60 points. All they're close. They need a lot. Tayson had a monumental performance in last game, and Enos is trying to double it up right now. We talk about it. It's going to take all the skill, a little bit of luck, and a bunch of execution. And right there, some good shots coming through, but not going to be able to find the loot afterwards. So who are we looking at who can potentially close it if they win the game? Rifle is in the conversation. Hen, Reason, Vadil, Snazy, Letwick, Frenzy Fishy, and Enos. Any of those players, if they're still up, gaining eliminations and gaining points, are slowly going to be shrinking that gap. So keep an eye on the yellow numbers to the left of their name in their HP pool, as well as the top left. Any of those guys going down or picking up points. Circle 4 is revealed, and pretty much everyone has already established themselves. So we're going to wait, and we're going to roll the dice and see where circle number 5, that half-in, half-out zone that triggers the initial use of utility, where does it pull, and which one of these key players can capitalize on the position and the opportunity they're given. This is the final game. There is 4 storm zones left after this. 52 players up. Number 1 is down. Can anybody catch him, or will Tayson's lead be enough to just barely edge him over the top? There's the zone on the far west side.
Rifle has no mobility. He's got to make a play.
Ça arrive, Axel. T'es encore jeune, t'en trouveras d'autres.
Shoots a little bit too early. Baffo will strike. We've seen him pop out of cones into players' boxes to look for it. That is not good for Rifle. He needs to rotate soon. He's got to go up. Exactly. He's got to follow that path that was just built for him. Because if he doesn't, he's going to get capitalized. But there's Baffo's moving. Baffo's moving behind. Shots come through. Down to 131 HP. Rifle needs to get out of this one. Sniper is out. Baffo is rotating there as well. He realizes that crash pad's going to be used. Rather, he doesn't have any crash pads in his inventory.
T'as 15 ans, frérot.
He se prendre la tête. Comes through that tags the shield. He's got nothing left there. 170 is going to find a launch pad. Is it enough? Is he getting a shot in the air? 114 shields are broken. Everybody knows.
Moi j'aimerais beaucoup être avec mes copains, putain. Non, mais ça... Mais sauf qu'après, ouais, des fois quand t'es ami avec la personne, des fois t'es ami avec la personne, tu t'entends super bien avec, après tu te mets en couple avec, derrière ça va pas quoi. Il faut se méfier de ça aussi. Des fois vaut mieux rester ami que se mettre en couple avec la personne, après tu perds un ami, tu vois ce que je veux dire. Tu perds un ami pour rien. Pourquoi? Ouais, ça je sais pas. Les personnes ils s'entendent super bien quand ils sont amis, après ils se mettent en couple, et après bah des fois ça marche bien, et des fois ça marche pas. C'est jamais l'avance. Parce que l'amitié c'est pas pareil que l'amour, tu vois ce que je veux dire. Quand t'es ami avec quelqu'un, t'es pas amour normalement. T'es soit ami, soit amour. Après, quand t'es avec la personne, quand t'es avec une femme, c'est ton ami, ton amour en même temps. C'est pas pareil. Ok, sandwich, tu as raison. Ouais, c'est vrai, la plupart du temps, tu sais jamais. Ouais, des fois, il y en a, ils sont hyper amis, ils se mettent ensemble, après, du coup, derrière, ils se parlent même plus, ils sont même plus amis. Et après, des fois, il y en a, ça marche très bien aussi, hein, c'est vrai à dire. Les sentiments amour et les sentiments amitié, c'est pas pareil.
This is the final game of the EU FNCS, the final circles, 3 left. Number 1 player is down, and who can catch him? 61 points is what it will take to lift that axe and be the one who walks away with $80,000 in the end, and it's all about if you can catch Tayson.
Decepto's 10 looking to do it, 42, 43 points each. They're very, very close. Hen now going up. He doesn't have a lot of HP. He's going to need to find something. Crash pads being used, trying to build to keep a little bit of a mid-ground chart, but not going to be able to do it. Benji making a run. Just trying to separate his game and trying to get as many placement points and move himself up the leaderboard as he can. Because he's out of contention for the Action Champions. AR Buffalo there as well.
Est-ce que c'est des câlins d'amour ou des câlins d'amitié, tu vois ce que je veux dire? Tu peux faire un câlin à ton ami, tu vois. C'est ton ami, tu lui fais un câlin, tu vois. Certains amis, tu leur fais un câlin, voilà, tu vois. Et après, quand tu fais un câlin à ta femme, c'est pas pareil. Tu vois ce que je veux dire.
We saw Tayson, he had 12 elims. Every one of those elims was a point that pushed him farther up. And while being still in the game gives you opportunities, if you want to seize the moment and you want to say your best is the best, you have to go now. You have to be pushing people. You have to be converting on the points.
Moi, je vois.
19 elimination points available right now. You have to start finding them. Top 20, so the placement points are ticking down right now. And Hen, completely out of build, needs the elimination just for the refresher. He's doing his best, making this a platform game. Diving around, looping on the corner, finds the first shot, can't find the second, and he gets taken down. Top 15 taking over and looking at the names of the lobby. I think only Friendly Fishy has a chance, and I don't think he has
il sait que t'as des... Ton copain, il sait que t'as des sentiments pour lui. Pour lui, t'es juste une amie, ça se trouve. Ça se trouve, lui, t'es juste une amie, il veut pas plus qu'être une amie avec toi, tu vois ce que je veux dire, tu sais jamais. Mais ça se trouve, il veut juste te garder en ami. Enfin, je sais pas si tu vois ce que je veux dire.
Everyone else has gone down, and now he's dropping in. 112 on the first one, but he gets walled off. 35 HP, uses the crash pad, but he goes up vertically and not into the box.
T'as trouvé l'amour, toi? Non, je pensais l'avoir trouvé, tu vois, mais non. Je suis resté 6 ans avec une personne et on s'est séparés il y a 2 ans maintenant. Du coup, c'était pas la bonne.
Go down with 49. This could be a second place run for Bafo. Stroke trying to make something happen there as well. 4 eliminations here for AR Bafo. Eliminations coming through all around.
6 ans, ça passe ou ça casse. Nous, ça a cassé.
Stroke down very, very low. Has to box on up. Twain's doing that. Nade dropping down. Bafo trying to just make something happen. 100 effective HP. 5 builds there for them. Stroke getting tagged up there by Twain. Shots coming through. He's trying to hit him, but he's not going to make it. No, he does. Elimination comes through. Bafo trying to make something happen as well. Dropping down to the outside. Going around the boxes.
C'est du passé.
Ça reste du passé. Bafo with 4 eliminations. Looking again to get number 5, number 6, and number 7 as more people are falling. And Bafo clutches up the last elimination for the victory. But I don't think he's going to get second. I think he's going to take third.
What a huge push from Bafo at the end. We talked about it, how every interaction will matter. And while E11's Tayson is the best player in Europe for this season, walking away with the AXA champions, the 80 grand, and all of the clout, Bafo takes game number 6. He'll rocket himself up the leaderboard. He'll earn a nice little payday in the clutch moments, and you can see there just how good Tayson was today. 22 eliminations, averaging a placement of 27th, but the big one was the 12 elimination victory royale in game number 5.
What an insane way to secure yourself that number 1 spot. It was dicey towards the end, but I think Tayson just had to stay alive just a little bit, and he did that, and he walks away as a victory.
We talked about it specifically. It would need a heroic effort from somebody in the top 10. But instead, a heroic effort from Bafo, who was 26 before that.
sais pas comment le dire à Julien, mais je l'aime. J'ai peur qu'elle ne l'aime pas en amour. Son frère va lui dire en face.
Sundown play, absolutely incredible casting of the day. You guys were so on point with these calls. I mean, it did come down to the wire, and for sure,
vous êtes sur la même longueur d'onde, c'est cool.
Champion, and now will walk away with the axe of champions. Now, of course, big props, but now we take a little bit of a turn here and look at everyone else, second between fifth, because placing up there is a pretty considerable amount of money.
Yeah, and to get there, how things were, all the way till the final second, the final shot, the top 10 switched up. So, looking at what it is now, after Game 6, after this grueling process for Europe is over,
80 000 balles,
at the top spot, 60 points,
il a gagné 80 000, il a gagné 55 000, 45 000, 40 000, 30 000. Ils sont refaits. 80 000 balles, au calme. Même l'autre, 7 000 balles, au calme.
to propel himself and hold
on
to that second place, and then in third, this was the man who rose up in the final game, 19 points. He was way below. Sundown said 26th place. He went from $2,000 earned, you can see basically on this page, all the way up to
2500 balles, il gagne, 3000 balles.
That is such a huge
Mon Graal, il gagne 2500 balles.
Bafo, Deceptos, Twains, people in the top 10, 2 of them, second and third place. This is their first grand finals appearance.
2500
appearance and a performance it was. Like,
man,
no practice in these types of lobbies, no real experience on the big stage, and they pulled that out? Unprecedented.
Yeah, absolutely, but it was a battle all the way through. Vadil, Nate, Letwick did so well in those early moments, but unfortunately falls out of the top 10. Still, solid performance from all these guys. Qualifying for the grand finals and then getting up to this top 20 is definitely something to be proud of. And there were so many moments that we remember from these guys, from Mongrel throughout the season, from Snipe today in the grand finals, from Flois in that very first game. He owns that 21st spot. $2,500 earned from him.
Pas ouf pour son niveau. Il va avoir des mecs qui sont plus chauds que lui. Le mec qui est un, c'est moi. T'as vu ça, je suis fort. Ah, vas-y, fais-moi un don de 10 000 € alors. t'as gagné 80 000 euros, tu peux me faire un don de 10 000 euros, tu vois ce que je veux dire? Tu peux partager, quoi. Demain, tu regagnes 80 000 euros, tu me refais un don de 10 000 euros. C'est bon, t'as fait. Il n'y avait même pas de français, je crois. On n'a même pas vu de français, donc je lui ai dit, moi aussi, je t'aime, mais viens, on s'occuperait de ça plus tard. J'arrive même pas à gagner le skin Galaxy. Allez, fais pas le radin, accepte. Fais pas le radin, accepte. 80 000 balles, tu me donnes 10 000 euros, c'est rien. 80 000.
Yep, and now we're looking at how things look after the heats in a top 100 stack lobby in a region that's what people say is the best to watch, the best to see. So definitely going to see the changes over in NA East, and definitely going to take a slight breather to see and catch up on those games too.
Well, Shai put it best. Guys, that's it for Europe, but don't forget we are back later to wrap up NA East and crown an FNCS champion there. Till then, Fortnite fam, we'll see you guys on the Battle Bus.
Money at the test at the game. And guess what, guys? We learned playing the meta actions as a person pursuing Apple and this lawsuit like it, and if whether or not Epic is playing with their players and Apple. And today in this this guy is legit and he knows what he's talking about. Now we're about to hop into that call and introduce you to the biggest announcement that ever done in my life. MARRE has signed their first female players and we have line of merch. MARRE has just announced its first female signings and dropped its official first lineup.
Il me reste 70 000. Julia en plus. Plus 35.
How many weeks again?
10 par an. Tu me fais penser à ma copine d'Algérie aussi. Ah pardon, je savais pas. Non mais supprime s'il te plaît. Faut pas ici. Est-ce qu'il me l'accepte? Le pauvre Axel. C'est MDR. Attends, je vais déplacer ce frigo là, putain. Demande ça, c'est en live. Non. Ça va faire trop de l'instant. Je suis sûr que ça, c'est un besoin de clip. On crie au secours. Putain, tu as des voisins. Dedans,
Bye.
Bye, noob.
Hello.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Bye, noob.
Bye.
Bye, kid. No floss. Bye bye, noob. I'm not a floss. You zero follow. C'est pas grave. Be right back. 37 minutes.
What is destiny?
No floss, kid. Voilà, bye bye, noob. Il n'y a pas qui fait floss. Ça les fait rage toutes les floss. Oh, Il finit le match là, ça se trouve combien là? Non, non, c'est pas fini, c'est les prolongations quoi. Fini. Il y a combien là? Il y a toujours un 1. Ok. Voilà, ils vont où là? J'arrive plus à suivre. Supprime s'il te plaît, MDR. Tu vas faire ça toute la journée. Léo The Graft passe le site. Je l'envoie dans le chat. Et hop là. Axel, tu peux aller au dodo, il se fait tard comme ça. On dit que c'est pas moi la première à aller au dodo. Ok, je vais dodo. Merci. C'est des ouf. Moi je vais aller manger, je crois. Pas de son. Bonne nuit, si j'arrive à me réveiller, je reviens après. Ok, pas de soucis. Julia, bonne soirée, bonne nuit. Tchuss, t'as pas mangé? Non, je vais y aller là bientôt. Je ne vais pas tarder, là on va quitter ça déjà. Tu vas live après, je sais pas, quelle heure, 11h? Ouais, je sais pas, ouais, peut-être vite fait. Bonne nuit, Julia. Finale de la FNC. Sur Fall Guys. Ouais, je sais pas, peut-être. Faut voir. Prochain maillot de MOIS. Merci, t'as pas mangé. Fall Guy. Fait une game solo. Ah, je veux des grailles là. Tu vas faire la cup, lever la coupe. Non, je pense pas, non. C'est pas peut-être, c'est oui, tu vas live après. Je rigole. Tu fais ce que tu veux. Ouais, je vais sûrement en live. En live un peu. Fall Guy, ouais, je sais pas, peut-être. Bon, moi j'ai mangé en tout cas, les gars. Merci à vous d'être passés. Peut-être à tout à l'heure si vous repassez. Bonne soirée, bonne nuit à vous, les gars. Si je vous revois pas, je serai là. Ok, pas de souci. Axel, merci à toi, frérot. À tout à l'heure, du coup, je te dis. Et pour les autres, merci d'être passés. Et bonne soirée, bonne nuit si je vous revois pas. Allez, tchuss. Bonne app. Cimer, Isma. C'est cool, frérot. Ouais, plus tard, les gars. Tchuss. Ouais, bonne app. Merci. À plus tard, les gars. Tchuss.